Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, heroes and minions, welcome back to the North American Heroes of the Storm Regional. I am thrilled to welcome you as we have just crowned our second representative who will be going to Korea as the North American champion. Two of them will go, but only one of them can emerge the champion today. We are about to get into the finals of the North American Regionals between those two teams, but it's been a long road. We've come a long way. Let's take a look at how we got here. Let me show you the brackets. Now remember, we started out with two groups. We came into the playoffs today. Naventic, Cognitive, Cloud9, and Tempo Storm faced off, and Naventic and Cloud9 emerged. We just saw Naventic, so they are fresh from a match, and now they will face off against Cloud9. We've loved seeing your predictions and who you're rooting for on Twitter, so please keep that up, but always use the hashtag HGC. I want to know what you think of this trophy because it is going into the hands of one of these teams right now. And without further ado, I want to bring them out together for you. Your North American representatives, Naventic and Cloud9.
Well, there they are. This is it, the grand finals, and the two teams representing America. I can't wait for this to start, Gilly.
It's going to be such a fun finals, Jake, between both of these teams. This is the rematch from Heroes Rising before. They have yet to actually face each other since Naventic beat Cloud9 in a very close 3-2 match.
So Naventic came into this undefeated, but now sitting there at 14-2. Will they be playing that Abathur, which they have been running too much today?
Yeah, with the addition to Fan to their roster, he's really brought that Abathur play in, but here is Cloud9, 14-3, just one extra loss for them. And although these teams have been here, and it wasn't unexpected, it was a hard road for both of them, especially today.
It certainly was. I mean, not a sweep for either of these teams. Alrighty, well, we can see Cloud9 getting ready, putting their hats on, getting those gloves of Arthalon, making sure it's on the right hand. That's important, because if you put that glove on the wrong hand, that's really going to mess with your APM.
Oh, absolutely. You got to have the gloves on the right hand, Arthalon, ensuring he is doing so. You know, everything is very important. The placement of the keyboard, the mouse, how far you are away from the monitor, too. All of it comes down to that. You want to make sure you're comfortable and in top form, especially after two long days of playing throughout.
Yeah, these have been two very long days. Yesterday actually went well past the desired time, just because the games have been so incredibly even. I mean, game three for every single day or game today.
Yeah, every match has gone to the final game. That's incredible. And I could easily see that happening in the finals here too. You know, we mentioned it. Both of them have, it was all 5 matches, all 5 games when they faced each other the last time. And when they made it to a qualifier, the first qualifier, they didn't actually face each other there. The finals weren't played out.
Gilly, are you predicting a game 5? With this close match between Naventic and Cloud9?
I'm predicting it right here, Jake.
Oh, man. I'm calling a 3-1 in favor of Naventic.
Okay.
I feel it. The world champs, they look good. But Naventic, they look better.
They have been looking fantastic. It's going to be Dragonshire for our first game. Not sure who will be picked there.
Well, looking at that last matchup, Cognitive really just brought Naventic to town, actually just crushing them on Dragonshire. So if that's any sign of what we should expect here, who knows?
Might have been Cloud9 who decides to bring it to them, and we'll see soon with that lobby. Looking at it now, I love to see how the meta has developed throughout these games. A high prioritization of Sonya, Li Ming. We have great Li Mings on both of the teams too.
Oh yeah, I mean, just look at Fan and K1 Pro. They're like prioritizing Li Ming constantly. But again, you mentioned Zeratul, big pick. Sonya also, Zuna, and both iDream have really sought after that hero, and it's been a big part of it. But on top of it, you have to think about heroes like Illidan being a threat. This is kind of an era of melee assassins, which hasn't really been the meta for North America in a long time.
Right, constantly looking for just that engage-heavy, brawl-heavy style.
Arthalon is such a troll, man. All right, so we do need to mention the fact that the first place of this, not only will they take home that grand prize and the trophy, but they skip an entire day of competition when it comes to the Global Championship in Korea. They are guaranteed top 8, skipping the entire round, but there are pros and cons to this. I mean, arguably, you could want more experience on the stage and more practice, or you could want more rest. It really depends on the team.
But a top 8 finish does mean more money, of course, too.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Wow, Li Ming, we mentioned him.
So Li Ming will be the ban from Cloud9. Looking at this, it is Naventic's Battleground pick. It is one that were picking a lot before yesterday, too. Zeratul will be the choice of ban from Naventic, not wanting to give iDream the power that comes from Zeratul.
All right, the Beard Master will have his Rhaegar on the side of Cloud9, but Naventic going immediately for Zagara, Sonya. This is probably the fastest draft we've seen in the entire tournament so far.
Yeah, they know exactly what they want. They've been able to hone in and see what's working and what's not working. But I wonder if we'll see the Butcher like we saw last time from
It did not
Naventic.
work.
I know.
It looked so mediocre, to say the least. Well,
Yeah.
we'll see. Cloud9, 2 more picks here. Oftentimes we see picks like Jaina and Murden in a situation like this, especially out of Cloud9, but Tassadar does enable heroes like Illidan. And another big threat that we do have to talk about is Cho'Gall.
Cho'Gall is always on the table and always a concern for these teams. You know, if you run up against a Cho'Gall, it really just makes you derail your draft to make sure that you can get some good, strong picks to have to deal with them. Cloud9 pulling out Murden. We should see a damage of some sort here. With Li Ming off the table, Jaina is a potential.
Yep.
Also, we see the Sonya, so maybe a Thrall as well.
Yeah, Thrall would be a really good option just to have that strong solo laner, especially in the 1-4. Putting Thrall into that top lane, as we will commonly see the rotation between mid and bottom. Do they prioritize that? Because if they don't, there's a good chance they could lose it.
Yeah, and especially because Zagara's also been picked up from Naventic too, so they do have the solo lanes. But it will be Falstad that's picked up for Cloud9. You know, we've seen K1 Pro playing Falstad a lot. The Mighty Gust really can change a team fight, especially once you pick up Epic Mount at 20, you can fly to the back and push the team into your team.
Yeah, definitely a strong pick up there. Naventic could try to do a lock on one of those big assassin heroes, whatever they're afraid of the most, and it's actually going to be Thrall. So removing that big solo laner of Thrall, and Cloud9, what would they be worried about? Maybe ETC, because the pairing of ETC, the threat of Zagara with getting a Mog, you can follow that up with a big mosh pit.
Right, and you have to respect McIntyre because his Moz have been on point all weekend.
That's true. He really has been.
Okay, so with one pick or one ban left in this first draft, Cloud9 looking at this, they also have a support if they want to try to ban out. Also, with Sonya, Tassadar might be a concern. There's a lot of concerns that Cloud9 could have coming from Naventic.
Yeah, that's very true. I'm actually a little interested to see what they're going to go for here. I mean, they're really debating it, obviously. There's a lot of options. So in terms of damage, just Zagara for that one range, they could try to lock out that Jaina if they think that's going to give enough of an edge to a hero like Fan. And at the same time, this is one of the maps where we see a lot of Abathur play being prominent. So I don't think they're worried about Fan going for that. Might try to just target that hero in general. And obviously, Fan used to play for Cloud9. So they know him, and they know exactly what he goes for more than any other player on the side of Naventic.
But similarly, Arthalon also was playing at one point for Team Naventic, so they do have that sort of cross from that, knowing what each of the other team plays. But it will be Johanna who is banned out by Cloud9. They already have their warrior. They want to limit that pool that Naventic can choose from.
Now, this is definitely one of Johanna's best maps when you consider the rotation between mid and bottom, and Night Take Spawn just enables her to do that so efficiently throughout the game. So prioritizing that over ETC, not all maps that would be the case.
Right. And ETC still is up now for Naventic. We may see them pick that up here. Airho is a fantastic ETC player. Yep. He's very, very aggressive with it too, often going for the double power slide into the double face mount. And there will be the ETC as well as Jaina. So strong of a draft from Team Naventic thus far.
Yeah, really clean and crisp. And that last pick for them will likely be the medic as they go through this, because there's no incredible initiation on the side of Cloud9. But they do need to lock in another frontliner. I don't know if the Murden would be enough for this team. I don't see them playing the Butcher like we saw in Naventic, but they could go something like Illidan Tassadar if they're feeling that bold.
Well, if there are any strategies left from either of the teams, this is it. This is the time to pull it out. We saw a lot come out from both of the teams when things got a bit hairy in the semifinals. You know, Butcher came out versus Cognitive from Naventic, but this is it. This is the time to use everything you have to try to secure a better standing when you go to that Heroes Global Championship, as well as a higher prize pool. And the big prize here.
One thing that's really interesting about this weekend is we have not seen Kael'thas a single time.
At all.
He has not been picked What? And Lunara will be that next ranged assassin. Such a very powerful hero in the late game. If she goes for Nature Calling, she just shreds through mercenaries and structures. Not necessarily the biggest of deals on this map, as the objective isn't necessarily something like the Immortal on Battlefield of Eternity, but still a very strong hero either way.
You could always pick up Wild Vigor there too because of the fact that you mentioned, and that way, oh!
Cloud9?
It's Panda time!
Now, this is something Naventic had been teasing that they might run this weekend. They said, we might pick Chen. And we didn't see that at all in the last series, but here Cloud9 is more than willing to do it. So props to them. I'm very excited to see exactly how well this works.
Yeah, I'm so excited too. You know, he can tank a lot of damage just by sitting there drinking that fortifying brew, and it's up to Naventic to try to stop him from doing that. Also, if they go for the Wandering Keg, he can really push people out of position and allow his team to take them out without really stepping out at all. It will fall to Lunara and Falstad to be able to do that, but with the great sustained damage that they put out, it's very likely they could make that happen.
Okay, Uther will be the final pickup, not Medic that I expected. I mean, Kenma is so very strong on the Medic, but he's going to go for the big power play of Uther. Uther gives a bit more control, presence for the rotations, and is definitely very hard to eliminate. Again, Uther can throw himself away in times for that Ghost form to try and sustain for his team, as it is a worthy sacrifice.
Yeah, Uther also has like the easiest stun to land in the game, right? It's just point and click, and if you can get that first of all, then that starts the CC chain for the rest of those to be able to hit like into the power slide face mount or into the Ancient Spear from Sonya. So there we have it, the draft for game number 1, a best of 5 for our finals here at the North America Regionals.
I gotta say, I'm preferring Naventic's draft in this situation though. They've got that big, heavy engage of Urho and Zuna on ETC and Sonya, and that hard initiation with a follow-up of someone like Fan playing as Jaina. That is gonna be so scary.
Oh yeah, it is, but here are our compositions. We're gonna have Fan playing that Jaina, also Kenmon, Uther, Zuna playing Sonya, McIntyre playing Zagar once again, and Erho will be playing ETC.
And on the side of Cloud9, Dunk Train, the Beard Master on Rengar with Arthlon playing Lunara. His beard is nice. iDream gonna be on Chen, K1 Pro on Falsehead, and King Caffeine playing as Muradin. This is the grand finals of the Americas Championship, and we're loading on into game number 1 on Dragonshire.
Here we go into Dragonshire, game number 1 of this best of 5. And nice horse coming out from Arrow. Red team will be Cloud9, Naventic will be in the blue.
Yeah, what is this?
I know. It seems backward.
It is a nice horse.
Zuna likes this horse. It's fine. It's an armored
Alrighty,
horse.
guys. Well, just taking a look at those level 1 talents. Conjurer's Pursuit, pretty standard across the board for everyone. Regen Master, very common there on Chen. Not a common pick of a hero, but definitely a common style. Tend to have Brewmaster's balance with Regen Master just for the max sustain available.
Natural Perspective will be the choice for Lunara. It's always a really great one to be able to pick up Natural Perspective because of the fact that you can sometimes, especially with Starwood Spear, be able to see someone even if they go over a wall. But speaking of engagements, Erho goes in and a quick first blood on Muradin.
Yeah, he dwarf tossed to his death in that situation. He actually just kind of hit the ground and died. So very, very good rotation there from Naventic coming from that bottom bush. A little sloppy, honestly, with Erho, or excuse me, with Muradin falling there.
Yeah, Falstad's going to fly to the top, try to make sure that they don't lose out on any lane soak while they get out into position. And because of this, the Muradin getting taken out here, it looks like Naventic's going to be a little bit faster on that initial rotation between mid and bot.
Okay, the creep spread starting to get a little bit of momentum here for McIntyre. That will definitely be one of his priorities, but I really don't think we're going to see that full creep style that we've been seeing out of KO throughout the tournament. KO is really prioritizing the creep on Zagara about 70% of the time throughout this event, I believe.
Yeah, we've seen it, even some Tumor Clutch.
Yeah.
Which has been really interesting. But yeah, McIntyre seems to be favoring battle momentum, picking that up, making sure that he has a lot more damage for the team fights and his abilities up far more often.
So K1 Pro are going to be able to grab this top shrine in control for Cloud9. Naventic controlling the bottom at this time. In terms of the rotations, it's really going to be a little bit in favor of Naventic. I mean, their level 1 definitely seems to have that larger power spike with these heavy rotations. Then Zuna might get picked off here. A big win on the side of Cloud9.
That hammering from Falstad was perfect. K1 throwing that out to be able to slow down so that they could get that. But meanwhile, Naventic with a big push into the bottom, already going to be able to take out both of the towers. And that's really early to have those go down.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a perfect response responds. They turn around, they find King Caffeine, just throwing out the hammer of justice, but McIntyre getting body blocked to death. They even have the body blocks on Urho. The damage isn't enough. No, the heal coming out in the last minute from Kenma.
It's going to make him use his well tap, and that's always a really nice win to be able to do that. It means if they take him out or get him really low before he has that again, he'll have to go all the way back, and that's some time when they can get back out into those shrines. K1 Pro tries to pick up the Dragon Knight, but good job rotating it up from Zuna to make sure that they can't get that.
Yeah, very smart. As soon as he respawned, he just beelined there for the top shrine, making sure he could deny the Dragon potential. And this is already looking more comfortable than the game versus Cognitive at an Naventic. I mean, if they really just lost that Dragon within the first 3 to 4 minutes versus Cognitive earlier in Naventic, although they are a little bit down in experience, they are certainly feeling more confident here on this map with this composition.
Now Jaina has the Lingering Chill and the Arcane Intellect, making sure she can stay out for as long as possible. A lot of times following that up with the Ice Lance at level 7. Make sure that you have just those Frost Bolts like constantly, because it keeps reducing out the cooldown as long as it hits a chilled target.
All right, level 4 talent updates. We see Arcane Intellect for Jaina. Now, that's just going to give her tons of mana retention. And on the side of Cloud9, anything interesting? The Nimble Wisp, I believe?
Yep, it will be Nimble Wisp. It gives you a little bit of extra vision radius. iDream might be in trouble here. Airho's starting to chase him out. Going to go back through, but he does have a flying kick to get away. But will he be able to do so, Jake?
Chen is just such a risky hero to pick up when there are that many stuns. The moment he started that brew, that power slide went through him, and it just ruined his day.
No brew for you, sir.
That's the saddest thing I've ever heard.
I'm sorry, Jake. Well, we do have Nimble Wisp, like you mentioned now, stun going out onto Dunk Train, but so far both teams just going back and forth, making sure to hold at least one shrine very close in experience.
Well, they're just on their race to level 7. The rotations have been rather good on both sides, just slightly in favor of Cloud9 with that 3-2. The Stormbolt connecting, but just some light pressure here, forcing out the power slide. Mercenary camps tend to be prioritized around this point to try to force your enemy team to rotate to clean that up and try to find a window within that. So as you go for those giant camps, I mean, Sonya, great for soloing them. Chen, although it takes him a long time, is very efficient at grabbing a camp, but again, the time that it takes to do so, not always worth it.
Naventic going to be able to get both of the shrines here momentarily, and nobody in position to really pick up the Dragon Knight, though. Both teams have been doing a good job of keeping people in that triangle of bushes underneath the Dragon Shrine, trying to be able to catch someone out as they rotate between the lanes.
All right, well, Arthlon going to try to reclaim the top. Both of the shrines have been under control of Naventic for quite a while. And with Sonya around the corner, this is, you know, it's a little scary here for our little Lunara, but King Caffeine has his back, just lurking in the shadows. A beautiful spot there. Dwarf tossing over, waiting. Zuna did not see him. He checked the bush, but the Stormbolt did not connect. The slow from Lunara is nice, but the peel of Urho going to be there. If Stormbolt connected, that was lights out for Zuna.
Oh, it was too close for comfort for Zuna now. Both shrines held by Cloud9. And by the way, you mentioned it, you don't really need the Nature's Calling as much on Dragon Shire, so it will be Wild Vigor, increasing her basic attacks for the next 4, the damage of it by the next 4 every time she uses those crippling spores.
Beyond that, pretty standard stuff across the board. Fan now just making sure he has this top temple. They don't want to give up a dragon because they know a dragon could translate into having those heroics first. You get the heroics first with a dragon, you snowball to getting a fort. Your team has a 1 to 2 level advantage from that kind of momentum. But if they lose Arthalon here, there is definitely not going to be a lead. And a huge pickup from McIntyre and Fan. But the trade is out from K1 Pro as he flies up. Even trades. Now King Caffeine is here. Dwarf Toss and Stormbolt still ready. McIntyre in a terrible position, but we don't see Fan coming in with the assist. Mac just kind of joking. He does dodge the Stormbolt, and he will be able to get away.
K1 Pro was very concerned about making sure they picked up that shrine, and McIntyre is still going to be able to get away. ETC heading up there too, and it looks like with 2 members down from Naventic, iDream's going to have a tough time of keeping a hold of this bottom shrine. So once again, they're going to trade those out, and now both teams making sure they can keep the soak up as they get up to level 10 heroic abilities.
Yeah, it is very, very close. Cloud9 has a slight edge on their opponents, but I don't think it's going to be enough of a window to really force anything. Very, very small frame. They can try to grab that bottom shrine, which they currently do not control. But as you can see, it's so hard to kind of get your team into position without losing the top shrine to do that. Is it even worth the risk of going for that kind of rotation? Probably not.
Yeah, and a lot of the structures have been taken down on ammo on the side of Cloud9 too. They've lost towers in the bottom, in the mid they're out of ammo as well. Top really the only place that's healthy, and that means that they have to constantly be pushing out the lanes more before they can get back out into those lanes and really contest either the Dragon Knight or the Shrine. So this up and down from Naventic has really been paying off for them.
All right, big presence here in the bottom lane of Cloud9. They did pick up Barrel and Haymaker. This is something King Caffeine is really starting to lean towards. Playmaker does a lot of damage. Not only does it give you a lot of displacement, it's a 40-second cooldown, and it really displaces your opponent. McIntyre, there is no escape from this one. Even with that Maw, it will be lights out.
Devouring Maw has pulled in Lunara. Now Arthon in trouble, but the Ancestral Healing will keep him alive. They're going after Zuna as well, but King Caffeine has to Dwarf Toss away, so it will just be that one pickup for Cloud9.
All right, so a nice, nice grab on the Zagara. They will end up giving that top shrine because, well, excuse me, Naventic will, because Cloud9 does have the additional presence there, and K1 Pro now grabbing bottom. Sonya is rotating. That's not a 1v1 scenario that Falstad can take versus Sonya, so he will have to back away from that in just a moment. Oh, excuse me, Zuna is actually a 2v1 with iDream rotating down here. The barrel used very early, not the most efficient, but he's going to be able to push Urho down into the bottom. Now K1 Pro in a weird spot. Does he have barrel? The Hammer of Justice comes out, but the heal is sufficient to keep him standing, and he's going to just be able to rotate back a little bit. We see the full rotation. King Caffeine not getting the playmaker quite yet. It is ready for action.
Lunara is still up top too, so this is a 4v5, and Chin is just going to get taken out immediately. Down goes the Panda. I love the amount of displacement that Cloud9 does have, though, between Playmaker and the Barrel and the Mighty Gust. They really can push around the members of Naventic. But with that, with one person down now for a few seconds, they'll have to be careful not to lose too much versus Naventic, especially watching out for the Dragon Knight.
Yeah, that Barrel just didn't look that good there. It really looked like they were trying to push someone into their base, and they failed to do so. And it's kind of a hard heroic to control, especially just when the enemy team is rather mobile themselves. Oh, a nice power slide attempt there, but the Mighty Gust is forced out to disengage to make sure King Caffeine does not get picked off.
Lunara has been up top, just happily soaking this entire time, keeping that shrine, sending out the Wisp to make sure nobody is coming for the ganks, but realizing that they are about to get level 13, so if they can just pick that up, they will have a nice window before Naventic will be able to get back caught up, but Cloud9, is going to lose King Caffeine.
King Caffeine is just constantly a little bit too far forward in these situations. I mean, when you have to worry about both Sonya and ETC, that is so much lockdown potential from afar. They can power slide from that bush below just to about the middle of the map, hitting you with the first stun, and then the Ancient Spear from Sonya will lock you down. Even if you have Dwarf Toss, even if you think you're safe, if you don't have Stone Skin, there's no getting out.
Yeah, and especially when you also don't have Avatar.
True.
You don't have that safety button of being able to hit that. And the first Dragon Knight, Jake, going to be picked up by Naventic.
Yeah, I mean, even down a talent tier, they just had that superior trade, picking up Murd, and the one pick enabling him to grab the Dragon. This is really going to help them not only get even on experience, but push ahead forward. The bottom wall is already down. They're making this bottom fort their priority, but considering that they have 45 seconds left on this Dragon, there's no reason to just slam its face against the fortifications.
Yeah, you usually don't want to slam your face against fortifications for just about anything.
I don't suggest it.
So they're already going to be able to push this back. Erho with that Dragon Knight down about half health. Wisp scouting out to see where the rotations are coming in once again from Naventic, and they're still just trying to be as passive with this Dragon as possible, making sure they really get the full value out of its duration.
Yeah, I mean, it's still just going to hang around for a bit. Level 13 talents, we do have Shrink Ray. So we've already seen a lot of lockdown from ETC and Sonya, but this gives Uther even more control. Shrink Ray plus Hammer of Justice. Once we get to level 16, you're going to see Benediction on top of that. So that's going to enable the double stun with the Hammer of Justice. So it's all about the control on the side of Naventic, and Cloud9 really has the disengage. They're looking for the big Mighty Gust to try to get out of those scenarios and cleanse from Rhaegar to make sure that that hero can live.
Yeah, and then look for a pick two with either the Keg or the Playmaker or Haymaker, just to make sure that they can get, one at a time and be in that good, favorable 5v4 position. K1 Pro has to barrel roll away. Jaina's still waiting to see what she's going to pick up for level 13.
So we're actually seeing Static Shield at level 13, I believe. This should try to give the additional sustain there for Falstad. This is something K1 does. He actually will change his build on Falstad in just about every single game. You'll see just stylistic differences, whereas other players and other heroes will run the same exact style build in almost every situation.
Yeah, great mark of a great player to be able to change that up and see what exactly you are needing to pick in those talents, of very subtle differences and knowing what is going to work the best. Also, unfair advantage, the pickup for Lunara at 13, very standard to have that for her, especially with all the slows that the team has, slows from Hammering, as well as the totem for Rhaegar, and then even Thunderburn pickup for Muradin.
So do you think that Jaina's just kind of holding off for Ice Block to try to play a full Iacona and bait the enemy team?
I think maybe wondering if they need the Ice Block because, there is Sonya and ETC up in front. Oh, K1 Pro in trouble. Does Mighty Gust everyone else away? But Erho is so amazing with these body blocks, and he's not getting back to his base.
I mean, the small shield from that barrel roll buying him a bit of time, but it is lights out for the bird known as Falstad. And a bit of a big push here in return from Cloud9, just trying to minimize the damage dealt. Yes, they're behind in XP a little little bit, but the quest for level 16 is rather even.
It is. They are dead even, in fact. And yeah, about that Jaina, you know, they know that they've got ETC and Sonya up in front. It's likely that Jaina, with good positioning, won't necessarily need to get the ice block and can feel safer. But at the same time, still has to be careful because there is always the potential of a dwarf toss and a haymaker as well as the barrel. So I think that's why he was waiting. But yeah, still going to pick up the icy veins there.
Starward Spear going to give that Lunara so much range, now that we're at level 16. And Benediction, we talked about that. I love the imposing presence pickup, though, from ETC. It's not necessarily the most common of pickups. When you're going against something like Lunara alone, oh my goodness, so look at this barrel on Zuna, really displacing him nicely. King Caffeine looking for the playmaker. The Gust used just on Zuna to make sure they are guaranteed this kill. A big pick off there in favor of Cloud9.
Perfect timing, too, because with both teams at 16 and the Shrines up, now they have a great power play. 40 seconds until Sonya will be back up to help with this, and it makes the defense of this Dragon Knight for Naventic a lot harder.
Yeah, and look at this Dream just kind of hanging out in top lane, making sure to push down the towers. He's going to just get the experience, but realizing that they want to get the Dragon is far more valuable than just trying to push out a lane. They are rotating down aggressively. Going back, ETC is going to go around the safe side to try to recapture the top temple, and he should be able to do that before Cloud9 can grab themselves a Dragon.
iDream heading back up there to try to fight out with Airho. He's going to see that ETC is on there.
A little bit late. He will just barely not get there in time. A bit of a misplay by iDream, not controlling this top temple.
That's going to be the slowest fight in the history of fights until everyone else can get there. Here comes Falstead with the fly-in.
Playmaker?
Well, there is the playmaker.
All right, the power slide forward from Urho, but he's taking so much damage from the Falstead. King Caffeine does pop that Stoneform, and Divine Shield has been used. A two-man maul. He can set up for a massive mosh pit after this, and he does do that, but the cleanse was used, but not enough to save the Falstead. Dunk Train trying to keep his team alive to the best of his ability, but they are full on retreat after losing their Falstead. Yeah,
the Ancestral Heal connected onto Murden, but he really needed two of those. But iDream should be able to pick this up in time. Oh, fan that Ice Bolt just in time.
Beautiful Frostbolt there. Beautiful, you know, just awareness, realizing that Chen had left the fight and was looking to do that. He's going to actually use the flying kick to disengage, and that Brewmaster's balance really giving him the mobility he needs to slip away. Lunara starting to hit super hard. Now that we're post 16, that poison is detrimental, but Chen gets picked off in the mid.
You know, I was just going to say that only a few seconds left until Falstad would be back in and he could fly back into the fight. But with Chen down for so many seconds, it's going to be even harder for Cloud9 to stop Naventic from getting this this Dragon Knight. They already have bottom shrine. Jaina's starting to cap top. Nobody in position really to stop this, and I think they're just going to give it up.
Yeah, ETC is sitting there waiting patiently for the Dragon to be available and even not going for the immediate cap. He knows there might be a threat, so he's going to just wait for McIntyre to throw down the roaches to scout out that bush, and this will be a big Dragon push coming out on the side of Team Naventic.
They're going after another fort. The pings came down. They knew that Cloud9 was on those Giants to pick them up, but thankfully they got them just in the nick of time. So now the Naventic are going to push in actually toward the bottom, try to clear this out. Are they looking to maybe start working on taking out some keep towers?
At the bare minimum, I mean, that's 1300 XP they can pick up for themselves, with a big stun going down. The body blocks there on Zuna, and the Playmaker does get cast. Lunar trying to get the damage, but the Ancient Spear with Divine Shield does get him to safety just a bit. Huge poison coming out from Lunar, and the barrel is pushing Sonya deep into enemy territory. You see Falstead looking for a gust, and they do completely separate Zuna. The micro stun of Falstead isn't enough. Chen dives in, the poison ticking down from Lunar, and the heal does not connect from Kenma. This is a dicey situation, but Zuna will not die from the poison. The punch of the Dragon, the hook over the wall. King Caffeine barely dwarf tossing, getting out of there. Everyone is so very low, but Arthlon cannot safely stay out here.
It's so big that they were able to keep Zuna alive. He was on the brink of death, but between ferocious healing, he has Nerves of Steel too, and then the heals that came in.
The Storm Bolt goes in, and they're going to try to burn down Kenma. Kenma goes down, but he still has the Ghost Form for the heals.
The heals will come back in from him. They're trying to push back Airho now too. They never really even got onto any of the structures too, and that's really big. But now with Airho, a full health bar, he's going to try to go after King Caffeine.
King Caffeine, a hard target to kill. iDream does not have that barrel ready quite yet. Another 15 seconds, but the flying kick does a lot of damage. The false head with the lightning rod, and they take out Zuna. With Stormbolt connects there, ETC gonna fall as well. And those staggered death timers, 30 seconds on Uther and 50 on both Sony and ETC. This is gonna be a ton of damage from Cloud9.
Cloud9 immediately turns onto the mid structures, trying to take them down. They're gonna push as hard as they can. They want to get a big experience lead from this. They want to pick up those level 20 Storm talents far ahead of Naventic.
All right, let's just kind of rewind and talk about exactly what they need to do here. They took a big win. They took 3 heroes at staggered time. So they need to maximize their control of the mercenary camps. Really just establish some map dominance, because that's not something that either team has had so far in this game. By taking out 2 forts, they control this bottom lane. Bottom lane has the most mercenary camps in this map, 3 mercenary camps in total, which is a ton. And removing all this makes that such a big threat. Even if they pushed in towards these keep towers, which they could kind of do, kind of a risk, it's just going to enable so many future opportunities.
Yeah, I love that they've sent Falstad back up to the top. They have that global presence, and you can start working on that split push. They're going to work on taking out these giants, and then they can rotate into more, but it looks like Kinma wants to come in. The barrel is going to push them off, but at the same time, that puts Chin off of the cap point, and he's just going to have to give that up, narrowly getting out through the Devouring Maw.
The fact that Maw was used there is a kind of big deal. I mean, McIntyre is not going to have that for another 90 seconds. Barrel is only a 60-second cooldown.
Yeah.
So all things considered, the barrel was weird, but it worked out.
It was a big win for sure. Level 20 Storm talents coming in. We will have Rewind on Muradin as well as Rhaegar. It will be Galloping Gate, so activating that will give Lunar an 80% movement speed bonus, Hardened Shield for Chin, and Epic Mount for Falstad.
Crazy mobility, and you just think about Muradin with Rewind. Not only does it mean double Stormbolt, you can Dwarf Toss in, drop that Playmaker, and then Dwarf Toss back to safety, making some massive, massive moments in these fights.
Yeah, earlier too, we saw when we were casting earlier, the Thunderclap twice with the Rewind nearly took out a Zeratul just because of Thunderstrike alone.
Well, we do just kind of see them passing in the night, going up to this top temple, the top shrine to control it. Now, the Naventic is not going to do any engaging whatsoever. They just want to deny this dragon from being an option. So you see the Banelings being cast, but with the level 20 advantage now being disengaged, level 20 was just picked up on the side of Naventic, they can look to take that fight. Remember, still no Maw, and we do see Divine Shield is forced out to keep McIntyre alive. They're looking to turn this around, but another 20 seconds before Maw is ready.
K1 Pro is going to fly in. We see the Ancestral Heal has to go down to keep him alive as Arrow is going after a Mighty Gust use, and there is a Mosh Pit immediately following the Mighty Gust.
But the moment that Mosh Pit was cast, Playmaker knocks Zuna so far to the right side that Zuna's going to get burned down very quickly. Hardened Shield has been used, but to no avail. He will be focused down here, as well as his ally Jaina. 3 for nothing, makes that 4. Cloud9 could look for a death push.
Man, Lunara has just been insane in the back, constantly throwing down poison on every member who she can reach, and now with that Uther being taken out, that's really big. Now he does have Redemption, so he will be back, but unfortunately for him, it's so long until he has any allies to help him with this defense.
I don't know if you guys can hear the studio, but Cloud9, they are shouting, go for the core, and that is exactly what they're going to do. The fall side even flying just to the opposite side, splitting up their positioning to make sure the chain, the splash doesn't do too much damage to them, and Chen just barreling. Oh, the BM coming out. Game number 1 goes to Cloud9.
What a fantastic game for Cloud9 coming in with this awesome style, with the Chin, making the Chin work. Those barrels were ruthless.
They really were. I mean, some of the barrels just kind of looked like safe disengages. They looked like safe plays, but when it worked, it looked great. And Playmaker, you know, it's not something we see out of anyone except for King Caffeine. But that last fight, the Mosh Pit was huge on the side of Naventic. But since Zuna got Playmaker so far to the right side of the map, of course, it's called Haymaker, it really, really denied them any kind of follow-up to that Mosh Pit.
Yeah, you call it Playmaker because it makes the plays. That's exactly what happened. You know, at the early game, we did see around the 10-minute mark, or the level 10 mark, that Muradin was getting focused down because he didn't have that avatar, but way more than made up for it when the plays they were able to make with that and be able to really section out all of the members between that, the Keg, and Mighty Gust from K1 Pro.
Wow, look at the flying kick, the way that it gets in Zuna's face to blow him up and guarantee these kills. I mean, just one of the big flexibilities of that hero. Even with the mega stuns that existed, Chen seemed to struggle in the early game, but once he had Brewmaster's balance, you can really see him falling out. That's the Playmaker I was talking about. Zuna nowhere near to get the damage that was provided by the huge Mosh Pit of Urho, and he just got picked off soon after. This ended up being the game-winning push from Cloud9 soon after.
Yeah, look at Arthalon. He's just been dotting everybody up with those poisons for forever, and meanwhile, K1 Pro and Chen catch one more member down in the bottom. So great game by Cloud9 there on Dragonshire, and that was the battleground choice for Naventic. Once again, not working out for them.
So the next map will be Blackheart's Bay, but guys, I just want to symbolically mention the fact that Urho, McIntyre, and Fan are 3 original members of Barrel Boys, and they just got manner barreled by Cloud9 here in the Americas Championships Grand Finals. That is a statement.
They got barreled, boys.
They got barreled, boys.
In that game, by the way, top hero damage was Lunara, and no surprise from me at all. Arthalon was absolutely fantastic at making it so tough for Uther to be able to handle all of that heals. We have seen that time and again. Picking up Uther and how cooldown dependent he is makes it really hard for him to be able to keep up with that damage in the late game from Lunara.
Now, another thing to point out, this is indeed a best-of-5 series, and Blackheart's Bay is a map that I personally attribute as being one of the stronger maps of a player like Fan. Now, Cloud9 has always been good here, but Fan was always a critical part of that, and now he has swapped sides. He's there with Naventic. His Abathur will probably be banned because of how good it is in this situation. Cloud9 is not going to want to let him have it. Right?
Fan is such an amazing Abathur player, and that's already something we know Cloud9 hates dealing with anyway. They know what it's like.
Yeah.
They know what it's like because they did it to people when they had
exactly.
So it makes a lot of sense to ban that out. But Blackheart's Bay, because it's so PvE, centered on going versus the battleground objectives, making sure you're collecting those doubloons, you can see a lot of melee assassins on here anyway, let alone the fact that they have really emerged in our meta.
Yeah, sometimes you see like heroes like Johanna have a little bit more priority because they're safe banks, they're safe holders. But Sonya definitely will be highly prioritized as well. She's so good at soloing those mercenary camps, not only efficiently in terms of not taking too much damage because she's sustains through them, but she does it quickly. And I mean, really, only Illidan is the other hero that does it as well as her.
Yeah, I mean, for the small camps, you want at least one person who can move around for the small pirate camps, but having somebody who can solo those bigger mercenary camps, you're totally right, Jake, is very important to teams. Zeratul will be the ban for Team Naventic.
So do they respect ban Sonya? Because Zuna is very powerful on the hero. Are they worried about the Abathur? That is an option, or Rhaegar, and Li Ming. There's so many different bans that make sense here.
Yeah, there are a lot of different bans. I mean, they were able to make it work versus Sonya before. That might not be as big of a concern for them.
That's true.
They could make sure to ban something out. If there are two different picks that they want, ban something else out so that they can guarantee they get one of them, because Naventic does have first pick.
Okay, it is the Rhaegar, so Naventic now has to decide, do they want to go for that big Li Ming pick that Fan is so good with, or do they want to hold out, grab something else, and let Fan pick Abathur a bit later in the draft? I don't see them first picking Abathur.
Yeah, that would be very early on, and there'd be a lot they could do to try to respond to that Abathur too. It is going to be Li Ming for Fan. He's been really showing some amazing Li Ming play from throughout this weekend.
Yeah, remember, potentially Fan. I think they have multiple players that can play him. McIntyre could definitely bust him out if need be, but Cloud9 now has their first two picks. Sonya has been highly contested here at the highest level in this tournament, but so has Thrall, and Thrall is a very powerful solo laner. But Zagara also fits the bill for that. Yeah,
and Zagara also provides creep to put around the turn-in point too, so you can keep an eye on that. It's really important for that. But Falstad will be the first choice. K1 Pro was doing a great job with Falstad play in the last game, and the battleground's rather large, so being able to have that global presence, make sure that you're pushing out the lanes, can be very valuable for a team.
Yeah, one of the tallest battlegrounds in the entire game, just top to bottom between the Grave Golem and that Bruiser camp is incredibly far distance, so globals have that additional value. Cloud9, I'm feeling the Sonya myself, but it could certainly be Zagara, and there it is.
Yep, so it will be Falstad, Zagara. I think we've seen a lot of pickups from teams, getting them at the same time early on in a draft. So they're going for that pure damage, but this makes sure that they have somebody for that solo bottom lane. And that's somebody that Naventic really has to consider, because Zagara can really push anybody out of that bottom doubloon chest when that spawns.
And it's just so safely too, right? All the creep spread, it's got crazy value. I mean, we definitely saw KO doing that, like I mentioned, specifically on this map. So Naventic, they've been running Sonya almost every single time in this scenario. Sometimes they pair it with something like Tassadar, but they might be concerned about, having that global presence to match. Now, later in the draft, they could pick Brightwing, but honestly, Kenma, I don't think he's played Brightwing once in this tournament.
I haven't seen him very much from him either. We've seen some Karzim from him. Morales play has been on point too, but we will see what he does. Already, supports could be an issue, a concern for them even, because one has been taken out of the pool. So we could see them go ahead and grab one right here. But it's going to be Illidan.
They've already made this work, and these are two of those snowball heroes, and they do go for that early Brightwing pick. Now, Illidan kind of needs a couple heroes to enable him. Rhaegar is one of them, but he's been banned out in this matchup. Brightwing, definitely one of the few that enables him and works well against him with that polymorph, but of course the phase shift, or with that phase shield on top of it, very good. On top of that, they're going to need a second hero, either Abathur or Tassadar, to really refine this.
Right, and with that, we very likely could see the Abathur ban right here from Cloud9, realizing that. But then they give up the Tassadar, so I guess it's just whichever one they want to deal with least with that Illidan.
In theory, Cloud9 could grab the opposite, right? But is that optimal for what they're looking for? Do they want to grab an Abathur? Do they want to grab a Tassadar? And that's a really good question.
Yeah, I mean, every time we've seen an Illidan with a potential grab on Tassadar on the other side, Zoya has been explaining to me that, you know, he is really bad versus that Illidan. You want somebody to be able to just lock him down and take him out, but Muradin will be the choice of ban from Cloud9.
Very interesting, and then the response ban of Sonya, so no reverberation. That is honestly one of the hardest counters to Illidan in the game. Cloud9 removed it themselves, so they have something up their sleeves. Earlier in this tournament, we did see Artanis used as a counter with that big, the big blind, and it worked well. I'm not saying I'm not expecting it, but it's
so
something
awesome
on the table.
Taking a page out of Blaze's book.
Yeah, it's possible. ETC. If they go for Tassadar here, it's well-rounded to an extent because it gives them like some good neutral sustain that also has good damage, but it denies the Tassadar on the opposing side, which not only has the value that's good against the creep tumors, but it's good with Illidan.
One more pickup here. At some point, they'll still need to support as well, whomever Dunk Train wants to choose as that. Another one potentially on the horizon for Naventic as well with that Brightwing. Just trying to figure out what exactly they can do to stop that Illidan. And it looks like they're going to have Tyrande, and we've seen them do the Tyrande solo heal before this tournament.
It's really strong. You go for the Empower and Pierce on this hero if you're going solo Tyrande just for the reset on your Q. The reset on the cooldowns provided by Empower has a huge impact, but on top of that, if you go for the Owl build, you can interrupt turn-in of coins. And when you stall and poke away with heroes like Falsehead and Zagara, you can really just whittle them down, and this is a style that works so excellently versus Illidan, and if Illidan goes deep, Hunter's Mark is just going to be the bane of his existence.
It will. Do you remember Blackheart's Bay versus Tempo Storm and Cloud9 at Vegas?
Oh, man.
They picked Tyrande too, and they were constantly stopping the turn-ins with those Sentinels, that Owl build.
That's very true. Well, Johanna will be picked up on the side of Naventic for their final pickup here, though. Yeah, it will be Tass. It had to be Tass or Abathur, and they're just going to opt to go for Tassadar.
So Tassadar and Brightwing will have shields for days, and especially for the Illidan. And this is a great double threat composition too from Naventic, because you know if they try to dive in for the Li Ming, Illidan's just going to take them all out. If they stay there and try to just deal with the Illidan who's on top of them, then Li Ming is going to get so much free damage onto Cloud9. A great Illidan composition coming out from Naventic. But what will this last pick for Cloud9 be? Is it going to be another support, or are they going to make sure to run that solo support Tyrande? Looks like that's what it'll be.
Yeah, solo support Tyrande, and honestly, Jaina or Lunara both made a lot of sense there, but Jaina has more burst.
Right.
And when you consider that the best way to kill Illidan is not only lock him down, but blow him up, I mean, Jaina's just infinitely better than Lunara in that position.
Yep, we'll see how that works for Cloud9 as we are soon getting into game number 2 between Team Naventic and Cloud9. Cloud9 up 1-0 versus Naventic in this.
You know, honestly, I am really liking Cloud9's draft a lot more. I'm really surprised to see that they picked Illidan over Sonya in a situation where they could have definitely gone for Sonya, because Zuna's seen great success with the hero, but they're mixing it up. This is a large battleground. Like Dread has been saying all weekend long, Illidan thrives in situations where you're far from your safety zone, far from your base. And it's very quick where we're going to start seeing those forts dissipate as those cannonballs from Blackheart really shred through them.
Absolutely, they do. And looking at this now, another thing to consider too is with the Tassadar, they have the potential for Mule.
That's true. Double support. Tassadar could grab Mule. He'd be giving up Khaled's Embrace to do so, which is a big deal, but it's not the biggest of deals. but I do expect to see Kala's Embrace.
Yeah, it's just so nice to have all those shields that you can go constantly on. You know, you only have the one phase shield from Brightwing as the fight starts, and then you have to hope that Hyper Shift will allow you to bring that back up if a fight goes into a long time. We soon will be seeing the rosters, and there they are. Dunk Train will be playing Tyrande, Arthalon playing Zagara, iDream playing Falstad, K1 Pro playing Jaina, and finally ETC will be played by King Caffeine, making up the roster of Cloud9.
And their opponents, Team Naventic with Fan on Li Ming, Kenma playing Brightwing, Zuna on Illidan, McIntyre playing the Tassadar, and Urho on Johanna. This is game number 2 of the Grand Finals, and we are on Blackheart's Bay.
Here we are as Tyrande hanging out in the base. Once again, Naventic in the blue, looking at some of the level 1 talents that we see. It will be that Hyper Shift on Brightwing. You know, sometimes you do see Bribe on Brightwing picked up, but it's pretty rare, and you really want to have that Hyper Shift up, as we mentioned before, so you can get as many of those phase shields as possible.
Yeah, the Bribe style, it's really fallen off. It used to be very prominent before the changes to that hero many, many months ago. Beyond that, pretty standard stuff across the board. Should be a power slide build on ETC. He wants to have as much lockdown as possible, especially when Illidan does commit to the fights. I mean, his job is to hit the power slide, line up the Lunar Flare for Tyrande, and get that Hunter's Mark so they can blow up Illidan as fast as possible.
Everyone coming, a lot of people actually congregating into the bottom lane here. 4 members of Cloud9 moving around. Maybe just trying to help that Zagara, escort her through so she can spread some of the creep tumors and get those started. Make sure that she doesn't receive any unfriendly guests from Naventic there.
Okay, Power Hungry on Li Ming, you know, that's just additional ability power, 10% for 20 seconds every time you grab a glove. Ooh, a nice juke there of the power slide by McIntyre, but the phase shift is forced out. The Lunar Flare with Hunter's Mark does secure the kill on Tassadar very early. A small moral victory here for Cloud9.
Great first blood coming out for Cloud9, already starting to put the pressure on with so many people in the bottom lane. The blue chests are going to spawn, and Naventic will pick up that top one. In the bottom, the siege is real though. One tower already taken out, another one drained of mana. It'll go down too, and then they can rotate back up and get the chest.
This is so smart from Cloud9. So many teams would have picked up the kill, immediately got in position to grab these 5 coins. But the immediate damage done to the structures is insanely valuable, and they're going to be able to get at least 4 of these coins their own. But if they lose ETC, King Caffeine a little bit overextended. The fly-in from iDream, incredibly risky. The misplays are real, but the barrel roll will get him on out.
He's going to get out, but look how the doubloons ended up. 8 for Naventic, only 2 for Cloud9, and you really don't want to be losing out. You want to at least be trading evenly with those doubloon chests from the first one. That means that Cloud9 needs to make sure to control their jungle, make sure that they are always picking up those camps whenever possible, and looking to maybe get some takedowns and steal those away before they can get all turned in.
So a big part of that was just Tyrande's lack of sustain in the early game. When you go lone support Tyrande, she scales quite well. Once you have Shadow Stalk and you have, you know, level 13, she feels quite good. But in the early game, her heal is minuscule compared to some of the other supports in the game.
They know that they have such good lockdown, and so they're being very aggressive once again and going for the doubloons on the side of Naventic. They know they have some catching up to do for those doubloons, and by the way, a few have been turned in for Naventic, and already we see Zuna hit level 4 and start murking.
Yeah, that's definitely a big power to the hero. We talked about that with both Illidan and Sonya, and he's going to be doing that throughout the game. There's a lot of times where you won't see Zuna in the fights because he's going to be going around collecting as many of the coins as humanly possible.
It's a full creep build coming out with Tumor Clutch, the choice at level 4 for Zagara, so wanting to make sure that they can cover the battleground as much as possible, especially that turn-in point, but also just whatever lane she is in. Watching for rotations from Naventic as they go from objective to objective.
I love the creep build on this map so much. I mean, there's so many different long hallways and passageways where creep spread is just going to be a huge edge for your team. If you can deny any kind of surprise by constantly having that vision, it's going to give you a nice edge. Look at this invade from Cloud9. The fly-in from Falstad. This is a very Naventic-style play, and they're stealing a trick from their book. I have actually seen them do this exact thing at this exact timing here in Blackhearts.
You know Illidan is going to be doing that. You hit level 4, you get immolation, and then you just go and start murking. So they're disrupting that where they can, but can they get out of here? King Caffeine has 6 doubloons. They really want to try to get away with these, head straight to the turn-in point potentially to get those off of their personal banks.
So So we got to talk about not only the fact is that like a nice kill, they get the experience, they steal the coins, but they also say, hey, guess what, Zuna? You can't do that because we will punish you.
That's very cool. Trying to just have some scare tactics in for sure. And we do have the Flow Rider picked up at level 4 for Falstad. So a bit of a different build than we had the last time. That's going to be making his ability cooldowns refresh 100% faster when Tailwind is active.
And Cloud9 taking in another aggressive mercenary camp. This is really going to diminish some of the effectiveness that Zuna would have had in this game. We talked about how that's what he wants to be doing. That would be his. He was actually on his way to that Merc camp. So now he can't invade on his own. That is way too risky. So he just has to kind of sit back and lane with his team and try to find an opportunity. It looks like they're just going to opt to go for a little bit of a push in the top lane.
Yeah, I love this play coming out from Cloud9, thinking, where will Illidan be going? Where is he going to be merking? Let's go take those instead. And doing just a great job of that. But meanwhile, the push has been really nice for Naventic up into the top. They've taken out a couple of towers, and that's meant that they've been able to relatively keep up in experience.
Yeah, all things considered, though, Zuna looking to try to invade this bottom Merc camp. The Brightwing phase shift is there, and Dream does need a barrel roll immediately. The Lunar Flare not hitting anything, and Falstad does go down. iDream trying to get out of there, not going to happen, but the Zuna on Illidan will have to disengage and try to grab this Merc camp. They did leash, they're back to full health, only 2 of them remaining in the bottom.
Now, chests have spawned, the doubloon chests are here, and Leeming starting to work on this bottom one, and Naventic once again are going to come out ahead there. Johanna is up in the top 2, which means Cloud9 are going to try to engage in on this if they can. They want it to be able to steal this.
The Polybomb didn't actually get off there because of the knockback, but King Caffeine still being engaged on. Johanna has rotated. iDream flies on right into the battle. First aid being cast. The sustain isn't quite there. The small heals of that Tyrande is starting to show off because everyone is still quite low.
Yeah, they're starting to pay off there too. They have the Empower as well as the Pierce, so they're going to start to be able to check everything right now, checking the small doubloon camp up top on the side of Naventic. But the doubloon chest phase was really great for Naventic because of the placement. You know, Cloud9 got pushed off of the Knights. The timers maybe got a little bit off there. They were all the way in the bottom, and as they rotated up, Naventic were able to pick up both of those.
Yeah, they've really evened things out. They caught up in experience, dead even in this game so far, but 18 doubloons in the pocket of Naventic. Arthlon will fall, donating even more coins to their side, to their cause, and suddenly Naventic in a commanding position.
Yeah, they're starting to get ahead in experience. They're looking to pick up heroic abilities. King Caffeine has to power slide out, and Naventic is giving Cloud9 a taste of their own medicine, going after this.
Please,
did he get those?
Yeah, he might have got one, but it's still such an unnecessary risk just to try to deny a couple doubloons when they already have 24 in their pockets, Gillyweed.
They do have so many. The bank of Naventic is huge, but it's one thing to have those and another to actually be able to turn them in.
Illidan is on his way down. iDream is his target. Brightwing with a phase shift, but King Caffeine lurking in the shadows to make sure he is A-OK. Zagara respawned, going up for that top watchtower, but level 10 is here, and heroics are now being selected.
We have Force Wall, Metamorphosis, Blessed Shield, Disintegrate, and of course Blink Heal for Brightwing. The Sentinel trying to stop Zuna from turning in, but Falstad's going to get taken out.
That is rough. They're just losing heroes left and right. I mean, they had such a strong start to this game, but Naventic biting back gets their first turn in. The middle fort will go down, and the top fort. There's no wall. It's already taken a ton of damage. This could be a double fort from a single turn in.
Yeah, with everybody down in the bottom lane from Cloud9 so long, going for those aggressive invades, they really left the sieging Li Ming to her own devices up top, and because of that, she got so much damage, was able to take that out, and this is going to be a big win for Naventic to get so many important structures down.
All right, the Force Ball just a little bit too late to lock in King Caffeine as he did get his power slide off. We do have heroics on the side of Cloud9. Now, Shadowstalk, the only one on cooldown for the time being, while Naventic is at max power, and they have a ton of coins waiting to turn in.
Yeah, they're still working on that bank too, as they are working on getting the Giants on their lane. And this is Blackheart's Bane in a nutshell, just moving around, making sure that you are controlling your side of the battleground, going onto the other side if you're comfortable enough to do so too, to make sure that you're always getting those mercenary camps and the doubloons so that you can turn them in.
Naventic is well aware that Cloud9 wants to look for a fight at the turn-in. And that's why you see they just disengage and go for the mercenary camps, because they're not going to fight an even talent footing. They have no reason to. They have more to lose. 21 coins in their pockets versus the 5 of Cloud9. Absolutely unnecessary to look for the turn-in right now. Just keep getting more control on the map.
Illidan was anchoring in the bush. Actually, Airho in trouble as a mosh pit comes down. Are they going to be able to get him? The polymorph was huge. Indigo, Blessed Shield, and now the rest there's a couple into the Devouring Maw, so no one gets taken out just yet. Illidan's starting to come in.
The phase shift poly was absolutely massive. They actually wasted Mosh Pit and didn't even get the kill. Huge damage coming out from Li Ming, and the disengage is real. The fact that Mosh was used there, and they managed to stop it without casting more than just, well, they used meta. Okay, pretty even trades in that regard, but still, it's a big win for Naventic.
It's so good too, which means Cloud9 didn't get any of that comeback experience that they needed either. They're falling behind. They need to get their level 13s because Naventic is almost there. But for now, they are going to have to be content with just once again going back and picking up those doubloon camps wherever possible, as a lot of heroic abilities used in that fight for Cloud9.
Well, Zuna is continuing his PvE as he farms and farms and farms, and the chests have spawned once again. So 10 coins in the center of the map. Johanna will happily collect the ones in the top. They're cleaning up the creep here on Blackheart, and Tassadar is collecting the 5 in bottom. Yes, they get the Pierce, but Cloud9 still does not have level 13, and this is not a scenario where they can really stall this out.
And once again, Naventic was in perfect position too for the doubloon chest and picked up both of them. 35 doubloons being held. Disintegrate comes out. Keen Caffeine power slides away.
All right, so they forced them off the point. Mac trying to get his 9 doubloons turned in. They need 12 in total, but yeah, you said 35.
Oof.
That is a huge bank, and the Pierce does force Zuna off for a moment. Oracle giving them all the space that they need, and that will be yet another turn in for Naventic.
Cloud9 does have 13 now, going in for the fight. McIntyre gets low, has to use Dimensional Shift to get away.
Dream
Water
with a
Elemental.
huge gust from below, and they're initiating on the power slide. Not even needed quite yet. Tassadar has fallen. Power slide should be ready, going in past Johanna. Uro gonna drop those 11 coins. We do see the desperate metamorphosis, but doesn't matter. Coins are spilling out left and right. The Maw in the back just on Zuna, but he might trade out with iDream. That is a victory. He's collecting coins. He's turning around, and without the big warrior in the front line, he might be able to do this. But Hunter's Mark not too far off. He's just backing on out and trying to escape with some coins. Lunar Flare, max range, 14 coins on Dunk Train. He needs to be cautious here.
He does. It's a 3 versus 3 as they coming back in as Tassadar. Zuna needs to be careful too with those 8 doubloons, and it's a back and forth as he's chasing down Arthalon too, but K1 Pro was there.
Kona Cold misses and Disintegrate from behind. Doesn't get the kill. Polly goes down, and the game of throwing is happening. Dunk Train gonna lose all of his coins. A huge turnaround. Naventic wipes Cloud9.
And all of the doubloons back into their pockets. Once again, 32 that they have, and 17 going to be turned in, or 14, I guess, from Zuna now as well. And looking at this, a full level lead for Naventic, looking to be able to pick up a level 16 off of this turn-in.
Really unfortunate misplay. Both Frostbolt and Cone of Cold missed on Illidan, and that cost them not only 2 more heroes, but every single coin they had. Not a single doubloon left, and Naventic is as rich as it gets.
They are, and they're gonna get turned in for days, especially once they get 16, you know. They either force Cloud9 to just give up yet another turn-in, or try to come in and fight without those level 16 talents. So they forced Cloud9 in a really tough position. They have to choose how they lose because they've already lost 1 keep, and now Blackheart is starting to fire on the towers in front of another.
All right, well, that heavy damage going on to those keep walls. Like you said, the 1 keep down already. Naventic solidifying a huge lead. Let's get a bit of an update on the talents. Now, this is when Li Ming is absolutely ferocious. Glass Cannon plus Mirror Ball, and you already have Seeker in your build. If you get hit by every single magic missile, good night, sweet Prince. Gilly, can you confirm if that is Critterize or Greater Poly on Brightwing?
I can confirm that, Jake. It's going to be Greater Polymorph, increasing the duration of that by a second, making sure that they can keep someone out of the fight and take them out a little bit sooner. Level 13, not here. 16, sorry, for Cloud9.
You noticed how crazy that looked when you saw Zuna use the flip onto Fawcett as he barrel rolled, and they even forced out a Hearth. You know they're so afraid of losing more structures than they have to, and there is a 4 giant push in the bottom lane being escorted by Naventic.
Now finally, almost all of the doubloons have been turned in for Naventic. They got 2 turn-ins in a row. Cloud9 still trying to get level 16, has lost everything but 1 final keep though, so they are really down to the ropes, Jake.
Yeah, this is a very, very tough spot. Basically, Cloud9, the Sentinel just even a little bit too early to even stall this out any. That's 10 more coins going in, all that's left in the bank of Naventic, but they need to find a fight. As soon as they have level 16, they need to engage Naventic, but Naventic is just going to play safe. They're going to PvE, they're going to run around, grab their bruisers, grab the pirates across the map, and just avoid the fight until they can turn in again.
Now, the one nice thing that Cloud9 had for them is that they did have this bruiser push up into the top. It's going to take out a fort for them. them. And because of that, it would have been very tough for Naventic to sneak up and take the boss without Cloud9 knowing. So that is at least a nice win, as they didn't have a boss barreling down onto their core at the same time, but that always is a concern, especially if you start to lose people in this later game with those long respawn timers. And they know that they're off the battleground. It's likely that they are at these bruisers, but they are going to be picked up by Naventic, but Cloud9 is looking for that fight.
Oh, Shadowstalk used early in this battle and not really getting a huge value. Dunk Train goes down super early, even with a nice mosh. I don't know if the mosh is enough. It is a 3-man mosh, but Cav is getting burned down so quickly. He does end up falling the trades. Johanna, a 2, a 3, a 4, 5 heroes down. Cloud9 likely going down here.
Yeah, Naventic shouting to go to core from all the way across the battleground, leaving doubloons. They don't even care. They want to pick up the core. They want to tie this series back up, and we could be already seeing, I'm telling you, I predicted it. I think we're going to all the way to game 5, Jake.
I don't know, Gilly. I'm still sticking with my 3-1 for Naventic because this was a dominant game by them. In game number 2, tied up 1-1, Naventic will end the life of Cloud9 here on Black Hearts Bay.
Cloud9 with early aggression that really paid off. They caught Illidan constantly in all of the places that he was trying to be able to get the murking pressure in. But once Naventic were able to take some decisive battles and get a huge bank, they got so far ahead structurally and in experience that Cloud9 just could not come back. They had such a hard time ever contesting them at turn-in or anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that one really early invade out of Cloud9 where they picked off Zuna, but from there, they brought the pain back. They invaded the bottom night camp. They picked up a kill. They got a huge bank of doubloons from that, and they snowballed it all forward. You see that Shadowstalk used to try to just buy some space, buy some root from them, but look at that Mighty Gust in. They picked up the kill. This looked like Cloud9 was finally starting to bite back, and they go in, but they start to have even trades. You'll notice that Illidan, with this Metamorphosis, starts to trade out. He gets False Sight in just a moment. They trade out 2 for 1. Coins are everywhere, but Illidan becomes such a massive issue. Dream gonna lose his life. This continues forward. He pops that first aid with the self-sustain. It's a 3v2 in favor of Cloud9, but Zuna knows his limits, backing away. They chase, they chase, they chase, and Zuna manages to slip away, dodge those abilities, gets the face shift as Brightwing respawns, and just completely decimate Cloud9.
Every time that Fan would get one kill, he just kept going and going with that critical mass resets. It was so amazing. Here comes a Metamorphosis into a Mighty Gust, and man, they were just so commanding. But we are going to take a break before the next game. We'll see you guys soon.
I'm searching for an apprentice. Someone to train in the art of righteous warfare. Someone to carry my shield, my name, and my crusade after I fall in battle. Not everyone is suited for this life. The crusade is a heavy burden, but someone has to carry it. My name is Johanna. I am searching for an apprentice. Interested?
Welcome back, guys, to the grand finals of the Americas Championship between Naventic and Cloud9, the newest, biggest rivalry here in North America.
It's been a big rivalry. It started after Heroes Rising, even a little bit before Heroes Rising when we saw the teams switch out players and their rosters. But Heroes Rising, it was a very back and forth best of 5, with Naventic being able to take the victory there, but only barely.
Formerly known as Bob Ross Fan Club, the third game in the series will be on Battlefield of Eternity. Now remember, guys, this means a lot. Not only is the team going to go home with that trophy and that top $25,000 prize pool, but they will be advancing into the top 8 of the Global Championship in Korea later this spring.
Yeah, and that's more money, and it also means an extra day of rest, which can be really important when you're dealing with jet lag that way.
More money, less problems.
Or more problems if you want the momentum going in.
Yeah, that's true, that's true. Well, Battlefield of Eternity, let's talk about this battleground a little bit. It's large, but it's only 2 lanes, so it's rather tall and there's a lot of negative space. So we tend to see high prioritization of heroes that have vision.
Right.
Creep spread, sometimes we even see the scouting drone in heroes like Medic. Sometimes we see Tassadar for that Oracle, all very useful to cover that fog of war.
Yeah, and because there is such a large open space in the center of the battleground, melee assassins are also a big concern, but wow, the respect from Cloud9.
No thought, just insta-ban, insta-ban. Could be Rhaegar here. But all those other big, vision heroes, the big assassins like Zeratul, are rather scary as well.
Yeah, those melee assassins can be a big problem, especially because there are a lot of vents that you can hide in and be able to catch some people out of positioning. But we'll see what Naventic chooses to ban here. Looking at some of their past ones, they've banned a lot of Zeratul versus some teams, as well as actually a lot of melee assassins in general, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's been working out pretty well for them, but Naventic, they're riding that momentum. A dominant start from Cloud9 in Game 1 and the start of Game 2, but Naventic really just stomped them into the ground, to be blunt.
They did. They were really, really strong, especially once they were able to get just so many doubloons away from Cloud9. But it's a different type of battleground objective this time.
Yep.
It's all about being able to siege down those immortals with very large health pools. So sustained damage can be really important to a team, making sure that they have that for their arsenal.
Good chance this could be that early pick Zagara for Arthalon, just to have all that vision and control of the battleground and the safe 1-4 push potential. But beyond that, Zeratul and Sonya have both seen a ton of prioritization in this event from the top 4 teams. Not necessarily for everyone, but the top 4 teams have really been fighting for them.
Yeah, we had Greymane a lot earlier on, but it seems like he's phased out fairly much in favor of those. It will be Cloud9 picking up Zeratul, knowing that he is going to be great. You know, he almost acts as a mobile vision ward sometimes because of his cloak. He can check out what the other team is doing, maybe spot out if they're taking a camp so that they can come in for an invade.
Okay, well, we talked about Zagara. She's safe at poking. There's a great chance she'll be picked up here, and she's going to be paired with Tassadar. So this is just vision central on the side of Naventic, really giving that a big priority.
Airhope mouthing 2 more, only 2 more games needed to be able to clinch this victory. And yeah, you said it, that is a lot of priority for Naventic to go after these vision heroes. The creep will be great. We've seen a lot of creep builds coming out from multiple teams. We had it in the last game too. Being able to have that endless creep so that the tumors can really show where everyone is moving around in Tassadar, of course, for Zeratul.
I'm trying to think of like what range assassins would be picked up here. Jaina really seems to stand out since Leeming has been banned and K1 Pro likes the hero, but Falstad is also so very useful, the global presence, to be able to like wander up to a lane to soak even just 1 additional wave of experience while you're fighting over those immortals. That adds up dramatically, especially when you're closing in on talent tiers.
It does. It's really important because you're in that center area for so long that you can miss out on those waves. So being able to have Falstad there for as long as possible makes sure that he can fly in at any time. You know, you have that safety, but he still ensures that you are staying up, maybe even getting ahead for those waves. But now Murden going to be the pickup for Cloud9. Sonya once again coming right back out. Sonya and Zeratul for Cloud9.
Yeah, they're grabbing their big front line for sure. And I like the denial of Sonya because Zuna has looked so very comfortable on that. But a double melee assassin before they grab a single ranged hero is certainly a bold move.
Yeah. It just shows how much these have been prioritized by the teams.
Yeah.
It's really been adjusting to that throughout this tournament.
Yeah, exactly. If you looked at the qualifiers that happened over the last month or so, the drafts look nothing like this.
Yeah, it's been a big change, even from the beginning of yesterday, but now it is going to be a Morales ban, so trying to limit the heroes who can keep this very front line, this very sustaining, constant brawling composition coming out from Cloud9 from being able to keep them topped off. Who does Cloud9 ban out here? They already have a lot of damage. Could be a warrior. They have a warrior of their own.
Yeah, I'd be okay with an ETC ban in this situation just to force Naventic into something weird. Yeah, but Stitches is still a really strong pickup, especially when you consider all the vision. So, honestly, I might prefer the Stitches ban if they were to go for a warrior. In terms of assassins, Jaina definitely standing out as a very, very strong option. And for melee, Thrall is still on the table as a strong laner.
Yeah, if they want to make sure that they're controlling those melees completely, they could put Thrall there, but it is going to be the ETC ban. Airho's been playing a lot of ETC, and he plays it very, very well. They do have, you know, some interrupt, but if they're just not wanting to have to deal with making sure that they have the correct interrupts in place for Mosh, then that could be another choice.
All right, Naventic with the next two pickups. Now, the Tassadar lone support is a thing, but rather unlikely, but they don't need to lock in their next support until last. They've shown they can make it work with Brightwing, Karazim, Tyrande, you name it.
Yeah.
But if they do want to prioritize that big rotation potential, Tyrande is a strong pickup here on this map. And Tassadar Tyrande with Hunter's Mark for the Immortal, it could be good.
Yeah, Hunter's Mark is great on those Immortals, but there's still so much up for grabs. Falstad still making it through this draft.
Jaina.
Yeah, Jaina too.
Huge pick.
It's been crazy to see these ranges that have been so focused on for so long, making it into the later stages of the draft. But Tyrael once again, the Archangel of Justice.
Is this Illidan? Is this Illidan's day? Oh, yeah, they're setting up for an Illidan with Brightwing, Tassadar, and Tyrael. Tyrael's your boy, isn't he?
Yeah. And Brightwing's my fairy dragon. This is like my dream draft.
Gilly Crew.
Yeah.
Well, Cloud9, they need to be well aware that, you know, Illidan is a big threat. It could be something weird like Butcher. They've busted him out earlier today, not to the most success, but it's definitely on the table for that melee slot. I don't see them running Thrall with the triple melee, but they actually have done it once before, but having no range would be very odd. So I see K1 Pro on Jaina as a big option, or Falstad for the Gus to disengage that Illidan dive.
So looking at supports, there hasn't been a lot of focus on having Karazim, but actually it will be Uther, yeah. So they will have the Divine Shield for Sonya too, making sure that she can stay in as long as possible into the fights, brawling if she needs to, giving her a little bit of movement speed if she needs to get out of a sticky situation. And who is K1 going to be playing here?
I heard Blizzard's going to patch the game so that Dunk Train gets 10% additional healing because of his beard, just because the synergy is so strong.
Yeah.
And another beard there, Falstad being picked up on the side of Cloud9. So, yes, they are going to have that disengage. K1 Pro going to be on that hero.
It's kind of the team of beards with Muradin and Falstad.
And Sonya.
So, Sonya doesn't have a beard?
Yeah, she does.
Oh, okay.
You just can't see it.
There he
Illidan
is
the final pick for Naventic, and it's going to be a big, tall order for those sanctifications to be clutch. But Void Prison, the setup for Cloud9, can be disengaged by the Maw, so the dance between these two teams and their heroics is going to be a dicey one.
Yeah, and especially when looking at the poke wars that happen, who will be defending the Immortals? Who will be sieging onto them and trying to poke them down? Zagara is a really great hero to poke them down, as well as Tassadar. You know, you can throw down the Psionic Storms with relative freedom, but with so many melee, both are going to be trying to just get on to their Immortals as much as possible.
Thing is, though, the early game, I mean, I really give to Cloud9. They've got so much more kill potential on their side.
Yeah.
Naventic going to need those rotations with Brightwing to get the poly, to get people out of situations. Illidan going to have to play relatively passively. I mean, the sustained damage is great, but if they fall behind in experience early to Cloud9, that Illidan pick is going to be rough.
Brutal. There is a lot of lockdown on the side of Cloud9 too. They have the reverberation too, to be able to slow down those auto attacks from Illidan. Yes, they have Brightwing with the polymorph, but there's so many different ways to stun out Illidan. As soon as he metas in, he has to be very careful and make sure that his team is right behind him. Potentially looking even for a Devouring Maw to be able to section off people away so that he can get the takedowns that he needs once he goes in.
I mean, actually, the level of control that we have on Naventic with Force Wall and that Maw that you mentioned could be huge for the control here. But guys, things are currently tied up 1-1 here in the Grand Finals. And we're going to Battlefield of Eternity for this next game. Be sure to tell us who you think will win. Head over to Twitter, use the hashtag HGC, and the team that you'll think advanced forward, because we want to hear from you.
We do want to hear from you indeed, and you can always tweet at Jake or I as well. But here, once again, we have Team Naventic. They'll be on the blue side with Fan playing Tassadar, Kenma playing Brightwing, Zuna on Illidan, McIntyre playing Zagara yet again, and finally Airho playing Tyrael.
And on Cloud9, we have Dunk Train playing as Uther, Arthlon going to be on the Sonya, Andream playing Zeratul, K1 Pro on Falset, and King Caffeine on Muradin. This is not match point, this is a best of 5 series, but game number 3 will be on Battlefield of Eternity.
Here we go in to see who can control these Immortals better. On Bella's side will be Cloud9 in the red. Naventic will be working to help Ilarion push down the lanes.
I will never learn the Immortals' names.
Why not? They're so cool.
Nope, heaven and hell. All right, well, we do see the Tumor, picked up level 1 pretty darn standard. No Iacona strats, Brightwing going for that early phase shift reduction for level 1, and Regen Master for Zeratul.
Yep, it won't be Regen Master though for Tyrael. We are going to have the increased damage on Smite Purge Evil, 25% more damage that he can throw out. So really focus on damage even though he is the solo warrior for the team.
Okay, well, King Caffeine immediately just getting dove upon, but would just kind of be a little bit of a scuffle, generally speaking. They will just brawl here as they fight for a bit of control, just allowing McIntyre to try to get some of that creep spread down. Of course, doing that very safely with his team, they then rotate down to make sure they don't miss any soak from these 2 lanes that just made it out into the center of the map.
So Sonya is the one who drew the short straw and will be that solo laner versus Zagara, but Airho is going to have to Eldritch Rune's Might away, use this as Smite for the movement speed bonus to get away, and just skirmishing back and forth a little bit, no takedowns even possible just yet.
Yeah, so 2 things to point out. Sonya is phenomenal at mercenary camps. Illidan is as well. So they're both good at that. But one thing that Cloud9 doesn't have, although they have the better team fight at level 1, they don't necessarily have a strong solo laner. Sure, Sonya is fine, but Zagara will slowly but surely push that lane out.
Yeah, and especially with Kenma staying here too.
Yeah.
The buffs that came into Arcane Flare, basically putting Arcane Precision with it, so giving it that extra damage bonus, just means that she is already a great pusher in general. Put here with that Zagara, and Sonya is going to not have the greatest of time. That's why we see Muradin rotating up, maybe looking to try to force back Naventic a little bit in this top lane.
All right, well, a nice Stormbolt going out with the Ancient Spear onto Kenma, but Polly in response, Arthlon with the big damage of the Whirlwind, and Kenma barely juking aside as Urho comes up. Arthlon, has he overextended? Yes, he has, and the first blood of this game goes to Naventic.
iDream tried to blink in time to save his friend and be able to body block, but it wasn't the case. They're going to start to work on the Immortals now as this first phase will start. For now, they were looking to trade out, but both King Caffeine and iDream are coming down into the mid or bottom, trying to push Naventic off of Bella.
Yeah, I don't know if this defense is really going to work out for them. They have no one working on the health bar of the Angelic Immortal, and really they are quite far behind. Almost half the health has been taken up, but a big Dwarf Toss in, the Stormbolt and the Blink of Zeratul. They get a quick kill on Kenma playing Brightwing.
It's really big that they did have the respawn in, as they did have higher health bars, but now Zuna is still on the chase onto Arthlon, trying to get away. The flip over is going to body block him, and right away another kill happening this time for Naventic.
Yeah, Arthlon has died twice sub 3 minutes in this game. Not really the optimal start on that side, and mentally that can work against you a bit. This is going to enable Naventic to really power through this Immortal and bring it to the halfway mark before Cloud9 can do even 10% really.
Yeah, Naventic has a lot of damage that they can put onto those Immortals, and especially now that they have Envenomed Spines too, Zagara can stay a lot safer with that increased range. So as long as they're protecting her, allowing her to poke down, throwing out her Hunter Killer as well as the Infested drop, it's going to be a win for them. And Cloud9 realize it. They realize that they fell behind there, so they're just going to try to take down that shield that will come in once Bella pounces down.
I mean, even the team fight alone for Naventic has gone up quite a bit when you consider the power of Leeching Plasma and then Immolation. Immolation gives Illidan so much more damage every time he uses that sweeping strikes,
right.
And then you throw him the Leeching Plasma, his trait gives him self-sustain, but now it's amplified significantly.
Right, and on top of that, they have Peekaboo for Brightwing too. That's going to be a big help for Zeratul, besides the fact that they have Oracle. So they have so much vision potential
for days.
to be able to spot out, especially once Void Prison comes into play.
Okay, Poly used quite early in this battle. King Caffeine is looking for that flank, trying to buy some time for the team, but the Immortal has chunked through the wall and is now working on the bottom fort. Experience already a full level ahead for Naventic. Cloud9 desperate to mount a defense here.
They are going to be able to take out Ilarion and Naventic, not with any sort of big talent advantage. Not going to try to push in further, really just want to play it safe here. They know what's at stake, they know the prize pool, they know how important this is, and that even with this game, it's a best of 5, so they have a long way to go.
Well, Cloud9 slowly catching up in experience as those wave of minions do end up falling, but Naventic will definitely have that level 7 talent tier advantage first. They can look to flex that with a short window, but it looks like they're just going to focus on the mercenary camps in the bottom, and Cloud9 will respond with a Khazra camp themselves in the top.
So last time I saw Zeratul on Battlefield of Eternity, we saw the exact same thing with the Master Warblade. Going to help out with those basic attacks, and especially when he's going after heroes, or even when he's using that on the Immortal too, it will be a help. We've seen a lot of Vorpal Blade play, but I like this difference of talent at level 4 for Zeratul on Battlefield of Eternity.
Yeah, it's working out pretty well so far. Stylistic choice. Level 7 is now here for Naventic with that first aid, the full-on phase shift style battle momentum for the maximum mob potential. And iDream getting caught out a bit here in the mid.
Oh, iDream is in trouble. Zuna jumps right back over him with the dive into a sweeping strike. A good Hammer of Justice will stop him from chasing any further. Peekaboo comes out, showing that the rest of the team is going away, not going after those bruisers just yet.
Yeah, but I love this opportunity. They know that they push them back, and they're just getting in position to push out this Khazra camp in the bottom lane. That fort is very low, and if it falls, it's a nice chunk of experience going to cement a full level lead for Naventic in the event it goes down.
I really like the battle momentum on Zagara. You know, we talked about endless creep, but in this case, they have so much vision already. Yeah, they really don't. And it's going to be so much extra damage they can throw into the Immortal, into fights, and like you mentioned, more Maz.
More Maz. Alrighty, well, level 7 has been reached, so Cloud9 going to look for a fight. Urho is the target right now, but very hard to lock down. Kenma a bit out of position, running deep behind the wall, going to try to get a phase shift at this rate. Is he far enough away? Can he get it? No, the Ancient Spirit connecting. Poly buying a bit more time from Arthalon here, and that's allowing the Immortals to really get chunked down. So Kenma's death is imminent, but the damage has been dealt.
Now it's going to be a short respawn timer, 20 seconds until he'll be back in. But in the meantime, already Cloud9 trying to get whatever they can onto Ilarion. It was a halfway point targeted by Team Naventic, and once again, we're going to get into another fight. iDream has to blink away.
That window is lost. Kenma up is in 2 seconds, and the phase shift will happen immediately. There comes Brightwing, and they do lose Illidan right before he gets in. Arthalon escaping with just a sliver of life, and King Caffeine doing just the same. Cloud9 barely crawling back into this game.
But they are low in health, and everybody from Naventic is here to start working on this Immortal, with the exception of Illidan. It was a big loss to lose Illidan there, but still, they have the Zagara, they have the poke. Also, even from Tassadar too, a lot of them low on mana, maybe going back to look for a tap. They still know that they have the advantage in this Immortal phase, so they can just play it slowly and look to make sure that they make sure and pick it up.
Note that Dunk is really thinking about that level 7 talent, and I feel like he might be thinking Cleanse for Judgment. I don't really know what else it would be to stall out for that, because there are exactly just Poly for Lockdown so far on this team, and I can't see Judgment being picked up here.
Yeah, when we saw Iacona play against this composition of Tyrael and Illidan from Naventic, he did the exact same thing. He waited that out until he saw if it was going to be a crazy Judgment hunt thing. So I liked waiting on that, and they are a little bit behind in experience too, so they should not be too long before they see what exactly Naventic will be doing. Yeah,
a worthy wait in this situation. All right, but they're starting to catch up a little bit in terms of damage. The Immortal of Cloud9 is much weaker in this scenario. In the siege potential, I mean, with that Zagara, definitely a little bit higher for Naventic.
Tassadar's been doing a good job of going up to the top, and Soak Kenma is in the bottom, but so is iDream. Both teams making sure they keep up that soak without, but especially Cloud9 where they are behind. So Naventic really trying to make sure they do the same, matching Cloud9 lane for lane in that soak so that they can pick up their heroic abilities first and immediately pounce onto Cloud9.
All right, Dream wants to soak this wave of minions, but with both Kenma and Zeratul lurking in that shadow, it's a little bit risky. The level 10 window definitely in favor of Naventic. They're closing on in, getting the soak the best they can, and Brightwing phase shift in. The moment they hit level 10, they do have the Poly option, but the Dwarf toss there a little bit too soon, and this Immortal will go to Naventic.
Cloud9 realizing that they just have to give this up. They did whatever they can, but it's still going to be a very large shield on this Angelic Immortal as he jumps down onto the ground. Will start to push up in the top lane against the final fort remaining for Cloud9.
Okay, Maw being used and hitting nothing. A bit of a misplay there from McIntyre, and VP secluding him, and Tyrell in the back. The false side flying down, looking for the gust from below. Not even going to need it as McIntyre will get burned. No! Sanctification denying a ton of damage from that hammering. Dunk Train will be the first to fall, but does have the heals for his team in that ghost form. But is it enough? Does not look like it. Zeratul will fall into the shadows.
2 people down as the defense of this starts, but Naventic is not done, going after King Caffeine 2, and he's running up to the safety of that fort. Will Dwarf toss over the wall, but Metamorphosis follows right behind for Zuna. Will he be able to pick out King Caffeine now?
This game is just slipping out of the hands of Cloud9. It seems to mean a full level lead for Naventic, but they're not done yet. King Caffeine dwarf tossing, trying to get away, but the Illidan keeps chasing. The Mighty Gust is nice, and that makes Illidan a little bit kind of secluded. Doesn't want to continue to push in towards those towers, but the Immortal still having 95% of its health.
Yeah, that whole distractics of Naventic was great. They chased down King Caffeine. They didn't quite pick him up. A good escape and being able to make sure to keep him safe, but still, this is going, they're trying to take this out while they can, but it's still able to take down a tower in that that top lane.
Yeah, so this is like a lot of uncommon pickups because it's a very strange draft. So with Archon, Divine Storm, Playmaker, I mean, it's really not what we're used to seeing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't enough to kill Illidan, and that's what Divine Storm is all about. Locking down Illidan, finding the kill, but they just couldn't do it there.
And Naventic now with a full level lead is just going to try to keep that up. Make sure they keep up the lane soak, be really aggressive with the mercenary camps. That's what they're known for. They're just going to try to get a good push wherever possible. And that's great for them too, because both of the forts are already down on the side of Cloud9. So whatever mercenaries that they can get pushing, make sure that they especially get the bruisers right before the next Immortal phase, means that that's something that Cloud9 will have to clear up, and that gives Naventic the jump onto that Immortal.
Yeah, very good point. I mean, they've been having the jump every single time, it seems. And they just, Cloud9 just can't find that, you know, even footing with the talent tiers due to the early kills that were picked up on Naventic. Pretty low kill game overall, but structurally you can see the difference on the map. Both forts still standing for Naventic, while Cloud9 has actually received some structural damage on the top keep wall.
Both of the teams trying to clear out those mercenary camps so that they don't have to deal with that when the Immortal phase starts. So good job of immediately responding to that from both. Cloud9 even starting to get a push onto the towers, but they have to be careful. They're starting to see people come off of the battleground, and Naventic might be going for a collapse here.
What is that level 13 talent on Tyrell? We see so little of him, I don't even know what that is.
That is Imposing Will. It's
yes, the new icon.
Yeah, different color. It's purple now.
Yeah, so fancy.
All right, so the Immortals will be spawning very soon, 10 seconds. But Cloud9 with no 13, what are they going to do here?
It's rough. They just kind of have to get level 13. Honestly, taking a fight without 13 versus like an Illidan that's already walking all over you, not a good time. Not a good time. You see they're just immediately in position to aggressively posture around the Immortal of Cloud9, and Dream needs to immediately blink back to safety.
Yeah, they want to at least try to defend until they can get 13. They have Falstad soaking once again. He's a great one to do that. He can fly in if he's needed, especially for the Mighty Gust to push Naventic off, but they catch Dream.
There's the VP forced out for him to stay alive on 4 members of Cloud9. King Caffeine looking for the Playmaker. Illidan does get the Metamorphosis to stay alive, and Sanctification not doing a whole lot. The Maw completely whiffs. McIntyre will fall as a result, but Dream is so very low, but the Mighty Gust goes out to save him. Archon chunking him down. iDream, it barely slips out of the clutches of Tassadar. Dunk Train does not have that Divine Storm and will fall to his Ghost form, but they can possibly turn this around with those heals.
King Caffeine had an amazing Storm Bolt to allow iDream to be able to get away, but they still did lose Uther, and now the Eternal Devotion heals are not here, but Falstad is flying back in, and still several seconds until Zagara will be here.
Still no level 13. They've been fighting down without a talent. That's the power of Void Prison, but can they get the kill on Kenma? Kenma is just about out of mana. He's face shifting for the big heal on Urho, and they're diving in onto King Caffeine. They get the kill.
28 seconds now until they will be able to have Muradin back up, and with that, Cloud9 are going to have much more trouble trying to defend this. Naventic force out the halfway point, so this is a point when everyone can go back, tap up, recharge those mana bars, because after a long fight like that, Jake, they're going to be low.
So we now have Shrink Ray for Uther. We have Static Shield to help sustain with Falstad. Wormhole enables Dream to be far more risky with his Zeratul play, but it's too little too late. This Immortal is picked up for Naventic, and Cloud9 once again very much on the back foot.
And he will be marching toward the bottom lane because he always goes toward the stronger structures in top. They did get a lot of damage down on those towers, but Zuna really wanting to go back in. We hear him yelling. He wants to grab every target he possibly can. He can get his sights on, but his iDream is going to come in with a big Void Prison.
All right, two-man VP. Can they make something happen? Divine Storm goes out and they burst through Zagara like he's nothing. McIntyre can't do anything in response. We see Sanctification also has been cast in this scenario.
Man, Void Prison into Divine Storm is crazy.
It's a classic.
To me. Yeah,
it's really old school.
It is so old school, but it's working. They were able to get somebody taken out, but they still have an Immortal pushing up against them, and they are still down a full level and a half versus Naventic. So they're going to take this out, try not to take too much structural damage, but at least they did stop Naventic with pushing in with this further.
Yeah, but both of their keeps are, weakened at this point, exposed. Level 16 just around the corner for Naventic, especially with this entire wall going down. And Cloud9, they don't really have that window. Usually you say after this, you clean up the Immortal, you look for that window before Naventic has level 16, but it doesn't exist.
And Naventic are totally fine with not fighting at this point too, because they want to get 16. So instead, they're just going to get mercenary camps to delay Cloud9. They're going to have to clear out, keep those keeps nice and healthy, keep the minions and mercenaries away from them, and that's allowing Naventic to move around. But with 16 on the horizon now, about there, they're looking, they're checking out these bruisers. They don't want to let Cloud9 get any advantage back into this game.
Yeah, Sank just came off cooldown, so they're perfectly safe in pushing in here. But there is still no Archon, so that is one disadvantage. No VP, no Archon, the Protoss Brethren without their heroics.
But Cloud9 going to give this one up. Naventic picks up the Bruiser Camp. Caffeine went in though, actually, and gets polymorphed, and Zuna goes after him, but he did still have Dwarf Toss to get across the wall. Naventic with these Bruisers, are they going to start to push in? They know that they are up against a team that does not have level 16 talents, and they have good poke, especially with that Zagara.
They can pressure this keep, honestly. They just escort both of these mercenary camps. Zagara pokes safely. The keep's already down to half health, and this is an easy pick. But Cloud9, they need to make something happen here and now and find someone out of position. Urho is getting really weak, forces out the Sanctification, and the Mighty Gust does go out, but no kill was picked up.
Naventic starting to move away, trying to disengage. Arthalon coming in, but they're actually just baiting Zuna to come right back in.
Oh.
Phase Shift goes down, and Devouring Maw hits nobody, and Naventic going to say, okay, we've had enough, goodbye.
No, but that's a big deal. I mean, 100-second cooldown that was used, whereas what did Cloud9 use? Well, they use Mighty Gust, and that's up in 15 seconds. So they do have a bit of a power spike for the next 40 seconds where two heroics are down. Cloud9 needs, even though they don't have 16, this is kind of one of their only windows in which they can bully the Immortals.
Now, Naventic did not get a keep, but they did keep Cloud9 from being able to soak both of the lanes. So now they still are ahead in that talent tier. They're moving back in. They want to brawl once again. Zuna is going after iDream, the Mighty Gust.
All right, Zuna does get hit by the Ancient Spear, but the double shields coming in. He just stacks them to the max, and he still has Metamorphosis when he needs it.
Arthalon starting to move away too, but iDream is in trouble. Zuna going after him too. There's nothing to be able to help him except for that blink that does help him get away. Metamorphosis coming in. Can they get Arthalon? Void Prison does save everyone else, but King Caffeine.
They're gonna re-engage here. Divine Shield Storm does go out on 3 targets, and they manage to barely not get that Brightwing. The Sanctification has been cast. Kenma gets the Shield of Tassadar, and somehow, some way, Kenma lives.
Man, Naventic did a great job there. They didn't get taken out. They're going straight back to the Immortal. They've pushed back Cloud9, and through all of that, they keep Cloud9 from being able to get those 16 talents. Finally,
there it is.
Finally, they get there and can fight on an even footing.
Stone Form has been picked up. Cloud9, this is their best chance to turn this game around. Level 20 is quite far off. Level 16 to level 16 for the first time, even talents. And Zuna taking a lot of damage here. The phase shift in comes with the Brightwing, immediate poly, but they're turning their focus to Urho. He does not have Sanctification for quite a while. Dream barely blinking back to safety. Dungtrain just doesn't have enough sustain for all of this damage.
It's so scary to fight underneath the Immortal of your opponents. And Arthalon now trying to get back away. Tassadar is going to come in,
Big
but the polymorph goes down onto Sonya. Can she get away from this whirlwinding to try to keep herself alive? But Zuna is right behind, and Arthalon goes down.
Oh man, Naventic just finds every single window that exists in the game, and this will be another Immortal unless somehow somebody's out of position for Naventic. But really, without Arthalon, there is no chance to re-engage this.
Yep, they just have to wait it out 30 seconds until they will have that Sonya back. This will be a pretty well-shielded Immortal, but it looks like we haven't actually gotten to the halfway point yet, so there's still that is a bit of timing where they are going to go there. They potentially can come back into this 13 seconds until they get Sonya, and sometimes teams will feel okay with defending 4v5 because of the fact that you do have those stuns that come out from your Immortal to help.
All right, well, they're getting in position to try to defend their Immortal, a desperate attempt to turn this around, but those heroics, they are all up and ready for battle on the side of both teams. We could see a big engage sanctification. That's the name of the game. Watch out for that if Cloud9 does decide to go ham.
Divine Storm and more importantly, the Void Prison are up. They're starting to come back in here. There goes the Metamorphosis too. And they're starting to try to burn down Zuna. The Devouring Maw pulls one person in, but so far no deaths on the side of either one. And now as I say that, Illidan gets taken out by Cloud9.
The single VP to seclude, and Kenma is being focused down on the bottom left side. The blink heal on the minion to get out of there, but Tyrael losing himself. We do see Fan manages to finish off the Immortal, but he will be paying for that with his life. And the Dimensional Warp, it's attempted, but it will be failed.
He tried to juke them with that cloak, but it wasn't quite enough. 3 people down for Naventic. So although Cloud9 does have to deal with a well-shielded Immortal pushing in toward their structures, it's not going to be, once again, as strong of a push as it could have been because Cloud9 were able to get some very key kills right before that Immortal was picked up.
Yeah, this is just still so rough for Cloud9, though. Although they finally took a team fight for the first time in this game, largely due to a relatively weak Maw out of McIntyre, the Immortals still going to threaten their bottom keep, and they aren't really going to pick up an advantage here. It's full defensive. They haven't even killed a single fort of Naventic.
Yeah, that's so frustrating too, to have to deal with that. You know, when you win a team fight but have to go back and defend your own base, it's never something that you want to do, but because Naventic has done a good job of at least making sure to snipe the Immortal, like with the Archon as well from Fan, it's constantly been what Cloud9 has to do, but they are clawing their way back for the experience.
Right.
They've
Yeah.
caught back up in levels.
The level is very even, but both of their keeps are so very, very low. And that just means that if Naventic manages to take a team fight, they can end, whereas Cloud9 certainly can't. So Cloud9 has to play perfectly from here on out, because if they misplay and they lose a team fight, it could be lights out.
And we have double bombs actually picked up for Zeratul. We've been seeing a lot of rending cleave with the Zeratuls of late, especially because the cleave damage was increased. But double bombs will be the choice here. Likely we could get the rewind. It's kind of a style of old to see that 4 quadruple bombs come out for Zeratuls.
Well, it's going to give a bit more control, a bit more of a range style. He knows that when he comes to those melee brawls against Illidan, it's not the optimal situation. He's just playing a bit more passively, and again, it gives him that control. This Khazra camp, this push here from Naventic will very likely remove this top keep. Can Cloud9 defend it, Gilly?
They're going to try. Arthlon starting to move in. Wrath of the Berserker is popped, and here comes a whirlwind in for the rest. iDream and K1 Pro are right behind, and Zuna once again just gets deleted.
That is actually a huge deal. The 2-man Void Prison, the flank from K1 Pro, he will gust 3 members back into this team, and the Sanctification will do nothing. Suddenly, Naventic is going to get completely torn apart. We do see the phase shift trying to get Brightwing out, going down onto the Tassadar, so 2 members do end up escaping, but Cloud9 can now look to really try to find an advantage.
Now the Bruisers have been pushing, and they took out bottom keep for Cloud9, so now the top keep so low, the bottom keep gone, Immortals are fighting, but even with going after this, even if they can get the Immortal, it takes a long time to take it down. You have to get it to the halfway point, wait for the animation, and then take it down further. It's going to be a long road for them with these keep down.
This is tough.
Yeah.
The fortunate thing is if they do manage to pick up the Immortal, it will go down the bottom lane. And that's the lane where the catapults do exist, so they'll want to clear that out. But you can look for the back doors as a possibility on the side of Naventic to just quickly poke down the top keep. And it's not like this Immortal push is necessarily that threatening when it has to go through an entire fort.
Right. It's going to take a long time for them to actually be able to even out the catapults in the bottom lane. The lane very pushed. They've been spending a lot of time in this mid trying to take down Ilarion. Will finally be able to do so, but it looks like iDream's going to have to go back. Wants to make sure that he has enough mana for this push and probably to try to push out that lane in the process.
Well, Cloud9, they just need to do exactly what they did in those last 2 fights. Find a quick pick on Illidan and just look to push to end. They have 20. That advantage is not going to last very long, as Naventic from a single wave, or maybe 2, will be enough for them to get their Storm talents, and Cloud9 slowly making their way here to this Immortal as Brightwing is threatening the top keep.
We do have a rewind on Zeratul as well as Muradin. Ignore Pain for Sonya.
There it goes.
Epic Mountain, yeah, Redemption for Uther. And there the final keep of Cloud9 goes. This is a push. They need to go all the way with this one. Without either of those keeps, it's going to be so hard for them to continue into this game.
If they get the single keep, it makes the game much more even than it was. So that is a good victory at the bare minimum. But unless they get a pick, they definitely should not be going for the core.
Right. Yeah, it's just too scary. We'll see if they're able to get the pick that they need. If they get the pick, they can win off of this, though. It's pretty late into the game, 23 minutes. They're doing a lot of damage. The Keep's going to go down and still have a lot of health onto the Immortal, so they are looking for that pick, Jake.
Oh, a huge Divine Storm going out. They burn Illidan quickly. That's exactly what they needed to do. Mighty Gust to disengage, and Cloud9, they might have brought this back. The Immortal making it out. The Void Prison to stall it out, and the Maw only gets a single target. They trade out Zeratul 1-for-1 for the kills, but Cloud9 clutches it and brings it back, taking the lead 2-1 in this best-of-5 series.
Cloud9 up 2-1 over Team Naventic, and that means they are one game away from winning the North America Regionals in this set, this best-of-5, Jake.
Crazy comeback.
Yeah.
Like, that's all they needed to do. Like I said, if you find Illidan, you pick him like you did in those last 2 fights, he's going to overextend, and the Divine Shield was there at the perfect time. Late game Uther, Benediction, double Hammer of Justice, it just spells disaster for a hero like Illidan.
Yeah, he just got deleted every time that Divine Shield or the Divine Storm would be able to connect like that, and they were right on top of Illidan. He would get taken out, but Naventic was in charge that entire game. They had Cloud9 totally on the ropes with losing both of their keeps, but that just shows the power of one team fight and one pick. When you have a composition like that that is so focused on one hero, I mean, yes, they had Zagara, but Illidan, he was the focus.
Yeah, and just, great Void Prisons, great use of the Mighty Gust throughout the game, and Divine Storm making its comeback really as the counter to Illidan in this matchup. The Tyrael Illidan looks good with this style, with Sanctification. It made the plays, but Cloud9 adjusted, and they managed to bring it back.
So now, with this being a best-of-5, Cloud9 are one game away from being able to claim first prize here, the North America Regionals. But we will be going on to another battleground, as it is that best-of-5. I'm wondering, I can't remember, I think it will be Cloud9's battleground choice.
I think so. Actually, for this event, were they deciding at the start of the match? Yeah, so this would have already been picked up. I'm curious what they would have grabbed. Oh, it's Cursed Hollow, a classic that we have not seen much of at all this weekend.
Yeah, it's been a lot more favored of other battlegrounds. We've seen actually more Blackheart's Bay than I thought that we were going to say. That's been one that's really surprising to me.
So the world champs going to a classic map, Cursed Hollow, something they have a ton of experience on, versus the new blood, Naventic. Now, these guys, not new blood in terms of the players,
right,
but the team and the organization. A brand new org here in Heroes of the Storm. You can't ask for better games, Gilly Week.
It's been so good thus far, this match, but it's really cool to see these two back up together. We haven't seen it since Heroes Rising, and at Heroes Rising, Naventic did win in a very close set, 3 versus 2 in the best-of-5. But a lot of people attributed that to, Cloud9 being burned out from being in China. They were tired. They said they only got a few practice sessions in with Arthalon before they went there. And so for Cloud9, they want to prove. They want to prove that they are indeed America's champions, and that it was just that they were tired. But Naventic, they want to prove that they did deserve that victory, and that they are the new blood and the current America's champions.
I don't know what to expect on this map. I really don't. This is another map where we can talk about the power of Abathur, but Fan, I don't know if he's played Abathur at all today or this weekend.
What's really interesting, too, is their card says, most picked. One of them is Abathur.
For
a reason,
really because it's so strong. But the fact that we haven't been to Cursed Hollow at all has played a lot less Illidan. Now, this is a map where Illidan is very good, Abathur is very good, but considering they just lost with Illidan, I don't see them picking him again.
Yeah.
It's not like there was a problem or anything, but it's a mental state, right? That our style didn't work. We need to shift things up. And a lot of teams do think of that mentality in certain situations like this, especially when the stakes are this high.
They are so high. They're one game away from losing in this series to Cloud9, and they're going to want to make sure that they're bringing everything to the table right here to try to get back to that Game 5 and have a chance still at being able to clinch a victory. Now, they are going to ban Zeratul. It makes a lot of sense, Jake.
Yeah, I mean, get him out of there. Too good. Now, does Cloud9 respect the Sonya or the Rhaegar more, or something weird?
Can't discount the Li Ming. It
That's
works.
True.
It
That's true.
works for them. Oh.
The Abathur. We talked about it. This is that big map. When you step on those toxic nests and you get slowed.
Furious.
Yeah, you just, not only does it has a furious impact, but it makes you furious.
Yeah. It's so annoying, and it really can affect your mental state. But Cloud9 also has talked about it before, not really liking to play versus that Abathur style, and they know how good Fan is on that hero, so it makes sense to take it out. They don't want to have to deal with the shenanigans, any sort of crazy, cheesy, potentially thought of as cheesy shenanigans from Naventic.
Just the omnipresent hero. It's like you have to constantly respond to the soak. You have to draft a little bit differently with heroes like Falstad and Brightwing just to be able to keep up with that. And they don't want to have to worry about it. Just bring this back to the team fights. Cloud9 saying, we can beat you in the team fights. We don't want you to do this weird split push. Fight us straight up, and we'll beat you there.
We want a clean fight between us two, and Naventic will pick up Rhaegar as their first choice. Cloud9 taking some time with the second ones, but they are going to grab the Li Ming, so we will have that steal away from Naventic, who has been playing it a lot, but so has Cloud9.
God, K1 Pro on that hero is just fantastic.
He has, yeah. He's so good.
Well, Cloud9, they've done odder things. They've grabbed heroes like Greymane, but they're not doing it here. Sonya, gonna be taken, and now this is saying, hey, this is a call out to Zuna. Like, Zuna, what are you gonna do? You just lost with Illidan. You're not gonna have your girl Sonya. Who are you gonna play? Butcher? Good luck.
Yeah, that didn't go so well for them versus Cognitive. I don't know if we'll see them bring out Butcher, but whatever they have, whatever they think is going to work, it needs to be right here. 2 more picks for Naventic. Looking at this, could see them do, sometimes with the first pick, we see a support and then a damage dealer and then a warrior, making sure that you can't really isolate any of those key roles versus them. But it is a big battleground. We've seen McIntyre pick up Zagara a lot, and it's going to be the same.
I wasn't too impressed with his Maws in that last game. Overall, this weekend, his Maws have been absolutely fantastic. But he's just so solid on the hero in general, you can't knock it. The vision is powerful. And Zuna seems happy with that pick. Oh, the Uther pickup very early. Surprised to see a support this early in the draft.
Oh, we saw them raising their hands. I'm wondering if maybe...
Look at that.
Yeah, I think
it's an
maybe
error?
it was a misclick.
Okay, because Uther Rhaegar...
Yeah.
Now, this is the time to bust out the pocket strats, but...
We'll see if that is actually what's going to happen. I actually see in chat them saying that that is supposed to be Muradin.
Aha, it has been corrected. So Muradin, not Uther, makes a little bit more sense.
It does. So they have Zagara. Like you mentioned, McIntyre has had some really great Maws throughout the tournament. The last one's maybe not connecting as much as he would like, but still feeling the confidence in being able to pick that up. Realizing the power that Zagara can bring to a battleground like Cursed Hollow. The creep around the tribute points and the bosses is so key to keeping vision on your opponents. And then they're also going to have Muradin, so they have a nice, well-rounded draft going into the next set of bans.
Well, Cloud9 really thinking about the options as to what Team Naventic could bust out. Now, 4 melee assassins, Thrall is still on the table, but I don't know if that warrants a ban. They might be more worried about denying a big healer on the side of Naventic.
Yeah, I think they could potentially see the ban for a healer on Naventic. Cloud9 does not have the warrior that they want. I mean, usually we don't see the solo warrior of Sonya. We see another one too, so that could be a choice from Naventic, a healer too. They've got a lot of options for what to do, but Cloud9 likely it'll be some sort of damage dealer. It could be a Jaina here because they already have the Li Ming, trying to restrict the burst potential there. You know, we haven't seen as much Thrall as before. Like, the priority of him is starting to decline a little bit, but that you know, that would be a melee assassin on the side of Naventic.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like what Naventic would try to lock out. Maybe just remove the ETC, but then you have to talk about some of the other options like Falstad, and Falstad on this map is crazy value. So if they were to pass that up, ooh, Cloud9 just, you know, saying, respecting the threat of a potential Illidan and tacit response from Cloud9, Cloud9 can lock in that ETC, and they can even go for Tyrande here, because this is actually a pretty good scenario for Tyrande. She is absolutely phenomenal on this map.
I like the respect of Illidan too. The fact that they already have Rhaegar, Rising Storm is a really big deal to have with Illidan, and then they also had Muradin too, so they wouldn't have been able to pick that up as a potential response versus an Illidan pickup. Reverberation is a really important tool to have to slow down those auto attacks, which do give him self-heal.
Another big option on the table, of course, Falstad. So Falstad just has that great mobility for Cloud9, and there he is, locked in. I expect them to grab their warrior here just because like ETC is so good with Sonya?
Yep. We could do Sonya, yeah, with the mosh pit. Sonya will be able to get right on top of them. You could use Falstad to zone everyone else away with a good Mighty Gust so that they can't really get in with the interrupts that they need. Right now, it's only Muradin or using the Devouring Mott, too, to stop a mosh pit.
True. And it's not bad by any means, but it's certainly not optimal. And just the power slide alone, you don't even need mosh pit. And we could even see, we've seen weirder things out of heroic picks. Stage dive is not bad on this map.
Right, yeah, it's so big that global presence plays a big role, and making sure that you have the soak. You know, there are so many objectives on Cursed Hollow, lots of mercenary camps, and you have to constantly be going to the objective fights. So getting any edge you can on being able to soak for as long as possible and get a potential talent lead right before those tribute fights can be a really great asset for a team. Really
winding down here on their time. Cloud9 knows how crucial this is. This is tournament point for them. If they win this game, they will advance as the first place. Or they'll win, not advance. They will win the tournament. But Thrall will be their next pickup.
So
this is a Sonya solo warrior. They did this earlier today.
Yep.
It was on Battlefield of Eternity. They went triple melee assassin. Sonya, we call her an assassin because she's just so OP. But that's certainly a bold move.
It is. We'll see what support they choose to have to try to keep them all alive. Meanwhile, Naventic with their final 2 picks, looking at damage and what damage they can possibly get versus this to try to counter this very heavy damage style that Cloud9 has.
Yeah, the nice thing about Thrall is a great solo laner, right? You put him in that top lane versus Zagara, wherever she ends up, could be top, could be bottom in theory, and he'll do great. But Sonya, she can sleep and sneak on into the mercenary camps, grab them very easily. Naventic, they need the support. Medic stands out as a good option.
Oh, excuse me,
Rhaegar's at top. Yeah, excuse me.
No, I know you just really want the bloodlust.
Oh, please. Don't get me too excited, Gilly.
I know, I'm sorry.
Well, they need damage. Jaina's still on the table. That would be a phenomenal option. And Greymane is actually going to be picked up. Will that be Zuna himself?
We'll have to see. We saw McIntyre playing him too.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that's going to shake down. One final pick, likely to be a damage. I think we did see Tempo actually, versus this style from Cloud9, go double warrior.
So this is kind of interesting because, like you said, I think Mac is the Greymane player, the designated Greymane, but he's been playing Zagara.
Right.
So would they put Zagara on Zuna? Would they put Urho on Zagara and move Zuna to Muradin? We've seen some weirder things. They could put, obviously, Fan on Zagara. This is actually quite interesting to see how this is going to fulfill itself for Naventic.
Yeah, that's the great thing about having such great players, is you can really have them flex to whatever roles needed, and it is going to be the double warrior because Chen, barrel boys!
So that should be Urho on Chen and Zuna on Muradin with Fan playing Zagara and Greymane on McIntyre, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. We'll find out in a moment, but that's what I would expect here. Final pick on the side of Cloud9. Is it lone support Tyrande? She's got good presence here, or they could just stick to Uther. It's tried and true. Dunk Train loves that hero, but he doesn't necessarily have the same kind of AoE healing that Tyrande has at level 10.
Right, they would have the Divine Shield, though, to help someone get out of trouble, especially if they're going to be looking for a flank for Sundering, you know, and Thrall can come in. If that doesn't work out, if he gets caught out, then that would help him be able to get away, especially with the increase to movement speed. I mean, Morales is on the board, too, but I would be so worried about her being safe.
It's just when Greymane decides to go for the throat on her, it's tough. I'm feeling the Uther.
Yeah, I'm feeling the Uther as well, but we'll have to see what Dunk Train wants to play with this. Think likely that will be the choice for Cloud9, and there it is.
It's a comfort pick for him. It makes perfect sense in the situation, especially when you're not running with a warrior. Uther's the closest thing to a warrior for the support role, right? He's just really tanky. He's in the front line. He has the stun, and it can really fit well in this style of play.
Cloud9 only needs one game left, and they are going with this style to close it out. It reminds me of the European Championship last year. Na'Vi did the same thing. They won with a no-warrior composition.
Was that the double melee assassin pincer strat? The Kerrigan Butcher?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really, really cool. Na'Vi clutched that all out. Now, of course, Cloud9, they're the world champions. And, you know, it's crazy to say that a lot of people would say Naventic are the favorites in this match, but Naventic, they've got an uphill battle as they need to win 2 more. Cloud9 only 1 game away.
Yeah, 2 games in a row is a tall order for Cloud9, especially since they've been going very back and forth. But here we go. Here is the roster. It will be Fan playing Greymane this time, so it will be a switch up. Kinma playing Rhaegar, Zuna on Chen, McIntyre playing Zigar, and finally Erho will be playing Murden on the side of Team Naventic.
Well, for Cloud9, it's Dunk Train going to be on Uther, Arthalon playing Li Ming, iDream on Sonya. K1 Pro will be playing Falsight, and King Caffeine rounding out the team as Thrall. This is tournament point for Cloud9 on Cursed Hollow, the oldest battleground and competitive. What a fitting possible final game.
An oldie but a goodie, Jake, as the teams get ready to rush out of the gates. And already I see a talent that I really want to talk about, because I was wondering if Chen would pick up Grounding Brew. Whenever he's using Fortifying Brew, it reduces ability incoming damage by 25% while drinking, and that's going to be great versus the Li Ming.
Look at that pull.
Wow.
The fans, they're getting behind Cloud9 here when it matters most. But we'll have to see if they can clutch it all out here. Level 1 talents, Seasoned Marksman for Falsight, pretty standard. Going to get that auto tech style to its maximum potential. We do see Li Ming will likely be going for a Magic Missile build. With that level 1 pickup, you could still go for the teleport style because it gives you, that additional armor.
Yeah. It gives you that ability, spell block, basically, every time a magic missile damages an enemy hero, force armor, and so that will be really nice too, especially versus Greymane, who is going for that Gilnean cocktail build. Once he picks up concentrated blast at level 16, that thing does too much damage. It's so scary, you're right.
But I love it. I mean, it gives him just that ability to whittle down the targets quickly and then dive in with go for the throat, and it just makes that style of play really volatile. But right now, let's just take a look at the lanes. We see Li Ming and Thrall both having that presence in bottom. This is just going to be the standard pickup. Now, King Caffeine, this is the 3rd or 4th time we've seen him playing Thrall. When they run this no warrior, in this case they do technically have Sonya, Caffeine really leaning towards Thrall. He looks rather comfortable on the hero.
Yeah, it's obviously a style that they have been waiting to bust out here at this North America Championship, and they need to have all of these really great styles at hand because of the fact that they know that they, they're going to be going up against the top teams from around North America. So great to see this kind of style coming out. But King Caffeine, though, is in trouble, and that will be First Blood.
There's comfortable, and then there's rotated on and blown up, and that's exactly what we just saw. King Caffeine, the first one to fall. Now that forces the rotation out of Cloud9, and look at that bottom lane. Let's just check it out, see the damage being dealt. Falsight doing his best to sustain through, but towers will be lost. And this, which would normally be a relatively even lane for Thrall in the early half of the game, is now really going to start to push in heavily for Zagara, considering he does struggle a little bit in the first 4 levels of the game versus that hero.
Picking up both of those towers secured level 4 for Naventic, so they do have a slight lead for talent tiers, but both of the teams will have that.
Great response.
Yeah, with iDream pushing in heavily into the top lane. Zuna is here to at least help with the soak, but having a hard time actually dealing with the siege coming in from Sonya.
Actually, Sonya just oh no, King Caffeine, not like this, not like this. He goes down the moment he gets back in the lane. That hurts.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, I'll just go ahead and run back to lane again when I get back up. But for now, it is going to be Sonya still up into the top lane, getting ready, a perfect tribute spawn for her. We'll see how many people choose to rotate up from this bottom lane, because Naventic are getting a lot of damage done to that form.
Yeah, K1 was actually almost dead, so that means he's going to have to back in the bottom lane. That means experience loss gonna happen. The rotation in favor of Naventic towards this top tribute, but Dunk and Dream gonna do their best to stall it out. Trying to get the channel, this will be thwarted by Erho, is just there to stop that in an instant, and King Caffeine has respawned. A lot of damage going on to Fan. There is no disengage as he's currently in his human form, and the magic missiles do connect from behind.
There's the resets from Fan, and Erho is going to go down too. The resets from Arthalon really helping to make sure that they can get the 2 kills, and just like that, Cloud9 pick up a tribute and tie up the kills.
Yeah, they tie up the kills. They have a slight experience lead. This is a situation where Sonya's continuing to push. I think I might have liked to see her go back to the Bruiser camp and someone else control top for her, just because it's a nice window where you know you're safe to do that. But overall, I mean, just going to safely get level 7.
We see Chen picked up Swift Reflexes. That is going to help with all of the auto attacks that are coming out from Cloud9. They have Sonya, they have Falstad, and they have Thrall, but Sonya is actually going for a little bit of a different pick at level 4, not going for focused attack. Instead, we have Aftershock, or Shattered Ground, which increases the splash damage for her so that she can use that slam to hit the back line still, make sure that damage is being done to Zagara, potentially Greymane if he's still in human form, back behind the 2 warriors of Naventic.
Really interesting. I really expected to see something like block picked up here when you're running that lone Sonya, but he's just mixing it up in a different way, going for a little bit more of that splash damage. We'll see how it works out throughout the game. I mean, obviously, Dream has been owning this top lane versus Zuna on Chen so far, and they have slowly creeped ahead in experience just a little bit.
So in the bottom, we do have Siege Giants pushing for Cloud9. Naventic does have their Bruisers in the mid too. A Tribute is spawning soon, and it is in a defended position for Naventic, so we may not have a Cloud9 choose to rotate in. They've already picked up one themselves. They have Sonya in a great push up top. If they can just deny this, delay it as long as possible. Falstad soaking bottom, Sonya getting the soak up top. This is a good win for Cloud9.
Falstad needs to back up. A huge rotation is happening, and he does get out of that Stormbolt's way at the last possible moment as he was trying to escort the Giants. They do get the one tower, so you know what? It pays off.
Yeah, about a level lead now for Cloud9, and they're trying to increase that as much as possible. If they can get to a point where they have heroic abilities over their opponents as a Tribute spawns, that's a free Tribute pickup for them on their way to a curse.
Oh, look at this early boss pickup. Cloud9 has no idea this is happening, and this will go completely uncontested in favor of Naventic. So with the boss, oh, dunk. No, he can't do it. He thought about it. He was looking. The right idea, just a little bit too late.
Yeah, they realized just a little bit too late that everyone was off the battleground, and that will be a boss pushing in toward that open fort on bottom. They have a lot of people responding to that. Thrall is also working on the Bruisers, so that will relieve some pressure into the mid. Yeah. But as a Tribute, will spawning pretty soon. They really want to try to get this cleared up as fast as possible so they can still get to that fight.
But a full level advantage for Cloud9, about to have their level 10 heroics. This is a rather large window. Considering the fact that they're defending this boss in bottom with just Falstad and rotating up, they should be able to stall this out in time. I like this response in Naventic, just trying to get these towers, trying to get the experience provided by them to catch up for heroics, but it's too little for them to be able to contest this Tribute.
I like Naventic going for the boss. I think they were trying to time that out so maybe it would push down, and Cloud9 couldn't take advantage with those heroic abilities, but they were able to clear it up fast, and it was in a defended position for them this time, so not really willing to risk that, and Cloud9 now are only one Tribute away from getting a curse.
So they're actually trying to knock down that bottom fort, and the Gus used to stall them out for a little while. That's entirely to enable Cloud9 to safely pick up this boss. It took them far longer than they would have liked for that. Barrel has been picked up. This could be a boss steal. The barrel is going in, knocking Thrall back. We do see Rhaegar has made it up there, scrambling to get on the point, but the Ancestral Heal will keep Thrall alive, but that's gonna be a dead Chen in the top. Kenma getting focused by that big laser coming up from Li Ming, and the boss is not successfully stolen.
It looked like a game of pinball on that point with the Wandering Keg, but still Cloud9 did a good job there, had members on both sides, so they were just going back and forth, making sure that he didn't just get the free pickup with the Wandering Keg. And with Keg on one side and Mighty Gust on the other, boss fights could be very interesting, Jake.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that all pans out, but you can see the boss getting far more value than the boss of Naventic. Cloud9 has a full level lead. The boss going to take out the fort, and this Tribute could be a curse for Cloud9. So they're sitting in a superior situation if they take a team fight here and secure this Tribute. Oh, just out of range to stop the channel, but we do see Zagara does end up falling.
Yeah, and they do lose Zagara. They pick up the Tribute, though, so it's tied 1-for-1. Arthlon coming in with the Disintegrate, and now Critical Mass has been reached. She has the resets, but still out of mana.
Look at that boss chunking through this wall. It will not get a tower, but this top lane is far weaker than you would expect at the 8-minute mark.
Yeah, it was great shot calling by Cloud9 and being able to pick up that boss, because Naventic did not want to allow a curse to happen, and so they had to let that boss just push for free, and it got a lot of great siege damage done. So now Cloud9 are looking at level 13 talents for the next Tribute fight.
So this full magic missile build starting to do a lot of damage. That means we will see Glass Cannon at 13 around the corner for Cloud9, gonna give them a lot of additional burst on that hero Li Ming.
Probably Mirror Ball to follow up at 16 for her too. With level 13 right around the corner, Giants are going to get picked up. Naventic doing what they can to at least push out the lanes. If they can push them out, if they still get cursed, you know, it'll take a lot longer for Cloud9 to really start to push in on top of the structures of Naventic.
So this is kind of rough just because they're going to be down a talent tier unless they're able to take a team fight. And these windows, I mean, they just lost one. So this is a huge full level disadvantage for them where they can't take the even fight, and it is curse point with this Tribute.
Now they are setting up. They're trying to maybe catch someone in rotations, and Dunk Train
Good
does
damage.
come in. Zuna trying to go down. A Devouring Maw catches 2 people, but Rhaegar is going to get taken out.
The trades are there, though. Divine Shield, the last moment. No, I'm just kidding. Keeping them alive. Urho stunned by the Hammer of Justice, forced out that Avatar, and the Greymane diving in with Go for the Throat, picking up a kill. 1-for-1 in terms of trades. The Ghost of Uther keeping them alive, and the Gust from below making a massive play. Naventic is in a terrible position.
60% slows go down on them, and that allows Cloud9 to catch right back up. Zuna uses the flying kick to get over, but the Seismic Slam secures the takedown on top of Chen.
But McIntyre grabs the tribute, so this is actually a tribute for Naventic, going to deny a lot of the push potential out of Cloud9. Unfortunately, this means the tribute won't be doing all that much in favor of Naventic, and they spent 3 tributes to do so.
Yep, there is going to be much more of a defensive curse. You know, they've already gotten the 4 onto the bottom. We'll see how much more they can actually get done with this, and that just means it's a little bit delayed of a curse for Cloud9, but that's fine. You know, they do more damage the later the game goes too, so they still will be able to get a lot done once they get that last tribute, but at least Naventic did stall out, losing a curse and several members of their team.
Okay, Kenma just grabbed the watchtower on the bottom right side, and he's actually sitting in a very aggressive posture, trying to just poke down that wall during this curse. Not only is he getting experience for the team to really help catch up and for Naventic, but he's constantly just providing a threat, saying, hey, look, we might have to respond down there, because Feral Lunge does a good bit of damage.
It does. Seismic Slam continues to be the build for Sonya, as we have Aftershock, which means it's reducing its Fury cost by 50% afterward for a couple of seconds. So it means that she can just constantly use those Seismic Slams, which pair that with the Shattered Ground, and she's doing a whole bunch of splash damage to the back line of Naventic.
All things considered, the boss is back up, and that is the obvious thing to do. So does Cloud9 realize this in time? Yes, their lanes are pushed out, and they're responding to it, but they should be checking this, and I'm actually really surprised to see Thrall just going to the top lane.
I wonder if they just don't want to get into the fight. They're willing to just
Without
deal with the boss.
Palantir advantage?
Yeah, they just want to make sure they're taking all of the fights they can with 16. They know that they're in the lead still because of the fact they didn't lose any more forts with that curse. They still have a curse of their own coming up very soon, the next tribute fight, as long as they can get 16. And they have some good single target damage to take down the boss. So they're just going to eat the boss, take it out quickly, and then look to take a more favorable fight.
Big rotation going up towards Thrall, but King Caffeine is going to run right into Zuna. The barrel knocking him back, and Sundering might have to be used here to try to stall this out. There is no one even remotely nearby, so he's going to save that heroic and just sacrifice himself as he knows he got picked off.
That's a great pickup for Naventic, though, because when you're behind, you get that comeback experience, and that's going to bring them back 30 seconds until Thrall will be back up. Similarly, I think the boss is up in about 20-ish seconds, too, up in the top lane. It is just now actually up right now, so that is a contention point for these teams.
So go for the throat, barrel down for another 40 seconds, Thrall up in 15. At the end of the day, still well worth the pick, as they've evened the experience gap by about another half a level with the soak and the kill. Still, talent tier advantage on the side of Cloud9 at level 16. Anything interesting? Well, we can talk about Mirror Ball just being absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, Mirror Ball's going to be out now. 5 magic missiles going straight for the throats of Team Naventic, and it will be Furious Blow for Sonya. So it increases the mana cost of, the Fury cost of Seismic Slam, but increases that damage by 40%. So this is a cool Seismic Slam build, yeah, coming out from iDream, yeah.
All right, well, the boss is an option, and this tribute would give a curse to Cloud9, but a big stun going on Dunk Train. The heals are there, and he might need to use that Divine Shield. Yes, he does. Kenma still has Ancestral Heal if he needs it, but the fly down, the Maw just connecting on one target. Mighty Gust is still available to disengage this Maw. Not even going to need it, but Dunk Train will end up falling from that go for the throat.
Dunk Train gets taken out. Mighty Gust used a little bit afterward, and now Falstad could be in trouble trying to get away, stay up toward the top of that. No Uther to help with this push now. He's down for 35 seconds, so he'll be back at the end of this curse, but the Cloud9 still did pick up the curse, and they already had minions pushing into the spot lane. This last 4 is going to be tough to defend for Naventic.
Yeah, I love this call from Naventic, though. They know the boss is definitely going to be picked up here by Cloud9, and they're actually going to contest it. They're saying, you know what, if we lose that bottom fort, whatever. The other keeps aren't really threatened by the minion waves immediately. We have time to do this. No Uther means they can definitely force them back, and that's exactly what they do.
Mighty Gust was not quite up yet either, and Cloud9 did disengage from that, but this is a curse once again, a curse that's not getting a lot of value for this team. You know, they did get the bottom fort, but the minions are just now pushing towards the keep.
Oh, but if they get Urho, this will all pay off. We see huge damage going out from Li Ming, and they do secure the kill on Muradin.
He just gets disintegrated from Arthalon, and now with that, they feel far more confident at starting to look at this boss up top.
That is huge.
Yes, it is. They have Uther back. This minion push down into the bottom is taking out these towers in front of the keep. That provides a lot of experience for a team. Meanwhile, up in top, Naventic were out of this so long that although, you know, it took a long time for the minions to get there, they still afforded those towers to Cloud9 for experience.
So Muradin getting picked off there pretty much enables Cloud9 to look to get a keep. And they were in a situation where that curse wasn't going to do that much. One pick. The pickup of a boss, they have now enabled themselves a huge power siege situation where this keep is going to go down.
Yep, they're starting to move in with the boss because the minion push was so good there with the curse too. They don't have to deal with the towers or anything. They're going to start to take out the well, make sure the boss is going to push right on to that keep, and it's already halfway down. The siege is insane.
There's no saving it whatsoever. Just Li Ming and the boss alone, you could leave the rest of your team back in your base. Just so much damage from those two things in this fight right now.
They're looking to get more of a pick if they can. If they get a couple of picks, Cloud9 could be winning right here, and they're going for it. But the Wandering Keg trying to push back the backline as much as possible from the siege. Disintegrate comes out, as does Mighty Gust. Is this it, Jake?
They're trying to get the reset. They do get the reset. The core is going down, and Cloud9 will be your champions of the North America Finals, taking a 3-1 victory over Naventic. I don't believe it, Gilly.
That went from 0 to 100 so fast. That one Muradin kill from them.
It's all it took.
That was all it took. It wasn't even like a huge decisive team fight, but it was catching the right person at the right time. They had the curse that helped push down the lane. Then they got the giant. The giant was going to go straight toward the keep, and then that Li Ming siege damage. That was just insane.
I mean, that's the power of being in a position with one player. Muradin died. Those lanes were completely pushed. If the lanes weren't pushed from the curse, the boss wouldn't have done that much. The wall was down. The gates were open, if you will. And just the power of Magic Missile with that boss, they burned through the fort like it was nothing. Got one more pick, and that was it. The barrel didn't play out well. The Chen didn't work out well, and Cloud9 took a decisive series.
Hugs coming out from these two teams. They're so proud of each other. They are friends, proud of each other for being able to make it to Korea together to represent North America in that first Heroes Global Championship. But it will be Cloud9 who goes home with the first place prize.
The world champions defending their title, advancing to the round of 8 in Korea, guaranteed at least a top 8 placing. I can't wait to see what they can do, but there they are at the stage. Congratulations, Cloud9.
All right, Dunk, you have led your team to a North American victory. How are you all feeling right now?
We're all feeling really great. I mean, that was a really rivalry, expected to be hard matches, and it was just so good. We played really well, and they played well too, but we came out on top, and we're just really, really psyched to go.
You're really great. You're so good. You just won the North American Championship. Come on, you guys. And now you're going to Korea with these guys. You're going to hang out with them the whole time. Also, you get a bye into the round of 8. You are in the Mega Money. You get to go to Korea. How does going to Korea sound, my friend?
Good.
It sounds good, you guys. It sounds good. Well, this is your North American Spring Champion, guys. Cloud9, and also hats off to Naventic. It has been a fantastic night sharing this with you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to tune in as we have more and more qualifiers coming up as we go into the Spring Global Championship in Korea, the beginning of April. We're gonna welcome the casters back up here to congratulate you, these guys. And to you, we say good night.